everyone. Welcome inside the press box at DeSanto Field. My name is Ron Yance. This is Andrew Rossman, and welcome to the 2022 college football season of Case Western Reserve University. Not only, Andrew, is it the home opener today, but it's also the season opener, the 19th season opener for Coach Debelak and his Spartans. And they welcome in one of the best teams in the country in Division III, Johns Hopkins, the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins University. So if you want to test early, the Spartans are going to get it today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a great Saturday to get the college football season started. Division I, II, III, all the way down to this level. And when you think of two strong, not only football institutions, but also academic institutions, it doesn't get much better than this. We got 10th ranked Johns Hopkins coming in here. It's going to be a great day for everybody.
The Blue Jays were 10-2 a year ago. They made it to the second round of the NCAA Division III playoffs. In that second round, they lost to Mount Union, pretty good program up the road in Alliance, Ohio. Case Western Reserve University coming off a 6-4 season, a season a year ago coming off the COVID season. Case was one of the few programs that actually didn't play football in 2020. So last year they had a combination of almost 21 freshmen and sophomores who were playing college football as starters in many cases for the very first time. So they were very young a year ago. This year, because of that experience that they got last year, Coach Debelak really likes his football team. And they'll be tested early, as we said, against Johns Hopkins today. But one of the great things about this Case program this year offensively, they've got a quarterback that has been here, it seems like, 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, when you draw it up as far as, okay, what do I want on my team, my roster to have a successful offense, top of the list is going to be a fifth-year and returning quarterback, and they have that in Drew Saxton. And when you pair him with the number of weapons that they have at running back, also wide receiver, it's going to be a high-powered offense as it's been for many years here.
Saxton has a real opportunity this year to become the all-time passing leader in many of the categories in the history of Case Western Reserve University football. Andrew, you mentioned running back. Antonio Orsini is one of those backs that they expect to have a good year this year. He has not really played in practice for the last week because he injured himself stretching. Coach Deb said, in all my years of coaching, I've never seen a player injure themselves in stretching, but Orsini did. But he did practice this week, and Coach thinks he looks good. We'll see Gage Dusler and Orsini in the backfield. But there are weapons there on that Case Western Reserve University offense, and Coach Debelak has been proven over time. He really likes to pass the ball and to put points on the board.
Yeah, I think if anyone had to describe the Case Western offense, it's going to be pass-heavy. Now, we say that, and we also understand Debs is going to take what he gets in the box. They know with Orsini and with the line that they have, there's going to be 4 yards there pretty much whenever they want it. It's just how much do they want it, knowing that they have the ability to go deep, really stretch the field, and really expand on that passing game.
So, John Schwartz, our sports information director at Case Western Reserve University, as always sits down with Coach Debelak before every home football game and gives us an up-close and personal interview on not only the Case program at the current state, but also the day's opponent. That's going to come up next. We're going to go to a commercial break, but in our Case Western Reserve University Spartan pregame show, we'll meet the coach, Coach Debs. He'll break down the Blue Jays. That's coming next. We'll be right back.
Have you heard the news? The Intercontinental Cleveland has earned its 10th consecutive 4-Diamond Award from AAA in recognition of its high-quality accommodations and exceptional service standards. Planning an important event like a corporate meeting, annual conference, fundraising gala, holiday party, or highly personalized wedding? Choose excellence in the Intercontinental Cleveland. Our planning professionals will take time to consider every detail and lead you through an experience which is proudly world-class. Call us today at 216-707-4100 for more details or to request a tour of our spectacular accommodations.
And good afternoon and welcome inside DeSanto Field. Case Western Reserve University as the Spartans get ready for their season opening game against 10th ranked Johns Hopkins. I'm John Schwartz, alongside me head coach Greg Debelak. And coach, before we get into the game itself, take us through a little bit about the preseason, how it's gone so far, what you've learned about your team through the first couple weeks of your camp.
Yeah, so I think we're back to normalcy, at least in our realm of how we do things in football and COVID. So that's been a relief. Kids have been great. I think I have a really good coaching staff. Very few injuries during camp. I think the team came together very well. And, yeah, I think it couldn't have gone any better. So we're excited to get out of that mode and get into, like, the week-to-week of preparation for game week. And that's that's where we're at, and we're excited to play a very strong Johns Hopkins team this Saturday.
Yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit about the quarterback situation with the team, because you've really been, gifted a number of talented people at that position, including a fifth-year starter, basically, and then some incoming talent. How do you plan on utilizing all those different options at quarterback?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people playing, I guess is the easiest way to describe it. Drew has been, flawless. I mean, he knows the offense inside and out, and his career speaks for itself when you look at the production that he's done, and he's going to be our all-time leading passer in every category very early in the season. But then you bring in the very athletic running quarterbacks, run-pass options. We're going to have 2 quarterbacks on the field. It's going to be very different, very exciting, I think, to watch. And we're not just doing it to do it. It's not a gimmick. We have some very talented quarterbacks, and our philosophy's always been get your best people on the field. And our quarterbacks are definitely some of our top skilled people, so we're looking for unique and creative ways to get them involved in the offense. And I think the fan watching from home or in the stands are going to be, they're going to be very excited on what they see on the field.
In terms of the other skill positions on offense, you bring back Antonio Orsini, had a fantastic year for you his first year after transferring in, first year playing after transferring in. And then, wide receiver, you lose some people. Talk about who you see filling into some of those slots and how you see those skill positions factoring in.
Yeah, I think we have some young, experienced kids. With all the injuries that occurred last year to a very deep receiving core, we had people on the field earlier than we thought. Like Noah Coyne, who's a sophomore, played the tail end of the year, did very well. Ethan Dollum came in as a quarterback last year. We moved him to receiver based upon injuries, and Ethan caught 31 passes. Riley Nurick, first year playing last year, got a lot of playing time. Isaiah Arrington. So I could go on and on. They weren't the main guys last year, but they got much more reps than everyone thought they would. So they're in a much better position to help out this year.
Defensively, we were sitting here last year, and you spoke a lot about your defense's inexperience. They now have a year of experience under your belt. You're bringing back almost every position on the defensive side of the ball. So how are you feeling about your defense coming into this season as opposed to last season when they just didn't have that playing time behind their back?
Yeah, it's kind of night and day. I think you'll see a defense that plays much faster than they did last year because they have that experience and they've seen things and they know how to react. That's the simplest way I can put it. It's not different people. It's basically the same people, but they're much more confident. They've played together. They have much better understanding of what Coach Miller and his staff expect, and they're playing much faster, and the results, I think, are going to be much better than last year.
We were talking earlier in the week, and I mentioned this is probably the most challenging season opening game you've ever played, and you kind of corrected me and said this is probably the second most challenging game that the team has played ever under your time here. Talk about this opponent in Johns Hopkins, 10th in the country coming in, perennial power in Division III. Talk about the opportunity to play them in the opening game and who they are as a team, and then how that affects you guys as a team going forward.
Well, I think you look over the last 15 years at the top academic football playing teams in Division III, and we did a survey, checked some stats. It's us and Johns Hopkins, as far as wins, playoff appearances, conference championships. Those have been the 2 top teams, and Hopkins has been the one. They have gone a little farther than us. So I think it's a great matchup. It's a matchup that I've been looking forward to a long time. Great respect for their players, coaches. They are a very tough opponent. And yes, the only team, I've been here 21 years. The only team that I think that has been better than them that we have played is Mount Union, 2017 in the playoffs, and they went on and won a national championship. So a great challenge, but I tell you what, we're going to be a great challenge for them too. We're looking forward to it. I think we have the people in place that we are ready to take on this type of team, and I think it's going to be a great game.
And Coach, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to join us today. We'll be back in a few minutes. Kickoff coming up from DeSanto Field. The Spartans open their 2022 season against Johns Hopkins. We'll be back in just a bit.
Intercontinental Suites has been transformed into much more than a hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
There's a look down at the field and a look at Alex Fromberg, number 8 for the Spartans of Case Western Reserve University. The Spartans just came out of their locker room. The Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins are already on the field. We're about 3.5 minutes from kickoff. Let's talk about number 8, number 10, number 4, number 3. Those are the 4 quarterbacks that Coach Debelak has committed to playing today. Not all 4 at quarterback, obviously, but they will be on the field 2 at a time often today. Andrew is a former defensive back, a former defensive guy with that mindset. Does that mess with you at all?
It's in your head. I would say it's scary. It's unnerving. Now, maybe he's just out there as a pure decoy. I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be the case, but the big thing with it is Johns Hopkins, they don't know. They don't know what Coach Debs and the offense has cooking for them. They don't know if there's going to be double passes. Are they running speed option with it? And that's the real value in it. You know, as Johns Hopkins had to prepare.
1985 and NBA.
As Johns Hopkins had to prepare this week for Case, there was that uncertainty factor, and it adds to the game plan. It adds the stuff they need to prepare for, and you know, a lot of faith in Coach Debs using it as a weapon, and it should benefit the offense in a big way.
Both teams, as you can see now, at midfield shaking hands. The coin toss will follow. That's Gage Dusler, Antonio Orsini, and, of course, Drew Saxton, the fifth-year senior at quarterback, Drew number 3. They scrimmage, they meaning Case Western Reserve, John Carroll, preparing for the season. And after the scrimmage was over, the D coordinator at John Carroll, and Greg Debelak goes back to his John Carroll days, so he certainly has relationships there, said to Coach Debs afterwards, as Case Western Reserve has won the opening toss, they've elected to defer to the second half. So Johns Hopkins will start at offense. They told Debs after that scrimmage, I'm glad we don't have to play you guys this year because of that 4 quarterback rotation and having a true passer, Saxton, behind center, and then having a runner like, you know, Fromberg or Kipp or Phillips in the backfield, who also has the ability on a pitch play to throw the football.
It's versatile. It's fun. It's going to be exciting to see, you know, especially against a team like Johns Hopkins. Probably need to dig pretty deep into the playbook. And, hey, if I'm looking for a way to spring an upset and really brings, you know, the unexpected, that's the way to do it. 4 quarterbacks, and we'll see what they have in store for us.
There's Johns Hopkins, and what a legacy they have at that school. They were 10-2 a year ago. They were 8-1 in the Centennial Conference. They were co-champions in that conference. They got a at-large bid to the NCAA Division III football championship tournament. They won in the first round. They knocked off the 11th ranked team in the country at that time in Salisbury. They beat them bad, 45-20. And then they played Mount Union in the second round, lost to the Purple Raiders, but they played the Purple Raiders as tough as anybody played them. They lost by 10, 45-35. So this is a program with a great history. And they're 18-5 in the 4 seasons under their head coach, Greg Camara. But as Coach Debelak told John Schwartz in the coach's interview in our pregame show, if you look historically over the last 15 years in Division III, Case Western Reserve University, when you look at conference championships and playoff appearances, they stack right up there with everybody else. Debs and his staff, and it's a staff that has been together for a long time, they have done an outstanding job of year in and year out producing a team that can compete on the field. And, Andrew, you were one of those guys in 2017 as a defensive back for Coach Debs who played on a playoff team.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can tell going through training camp, Coach Debs may not admit it, but you can tell if the team has the feel, if they've got the experience and the know-how to get to the playoffs. And everything we've heard is that, you know, this is potentially one of those years. Now they have to go out and deliver on the field, but they definitely have the horses. They have the coaching staff to pair with these players, and, you know, all signs are pointing to another successful year for Coach Debelak.
Well, both teams are on the field. The Spartans are ready to kick it off. Ben Barney is standing at the 35-yard line for Case Western Reserve. He'll kick it off, and set to return for the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins are E.J. Tallarico and P.J. Scales. There's a look at P.J. Scales, number 5 for the Blue Jays. As you can see, Johns Hopkins wearing the white jerseys this afternoone at DeSanto Field, and the Spartans, the home team, in their deep blue. Kick is up in the air. Set to return it are the Blue Jays. Here comes Scales with it. He's got a blocker at the 30. He's got open field in front of him. DJ Scales hopping, skipping, trying to keep his balance. And he's down at the 26-yard line. That is not the way you want to start a football game if you're the Spartans on special teams. But for Johns Hopkins, they are ready to roll.
Absolutely. And if we think of the keys for Case today, Hopkins coming in as the 10th-ranked team. When you're coming in as the underdog, as Case will be, you're thinking turnovers, special teams. Those are the two areas that you can really make up that difference. And credit to Hopkins, they're getting off the hot start.
This Johns Hopkins team has 10 graduate players on it this year. On offense alone, they have 4, including the young man who took that snap, the quarterback. Quick pass, right flat. That's Pantelis with it, and he got smoked. Pantelis got hammered at the 16-yard line by number 16 for the Spartans, and that's Nick Sacalo. Sacalo, Andrew, you'll remember a year ago as a true freshman out of Avon Lake High School, started at outside linebacker and played well enough to get all-conference consideration. He's been moved to strong safety this year, but he will be all over the field. So it's 2nd down and 10. Quick pitch on the back in motion. It's Artie Collins, and Collins is down inside the 4-yard line.
Yeah, and when we look at Johns Hopkins across the board, whether it's offense, defense, they're going to rank, if they're not number 1 in their conference on all statistical categories, they're at least number 2. And we're seeing it here on the offense. They're going to be multifaceted. It's going to be through the air, on the ground, really going to put pressure on Case here early by moving the ball as they are.
Well, a year ago, this offense averaged nearly 500 yards in offense per game, 489 to be exact. Inside the 4. Handoff left side of that line, pushing the tackles forward, and they'll mark him down at the 1-yard line. That's Danny Wolf who got the handoff.
Yeah, and Ron, you touched on it. I mean, when you look at their roster up and down, you see experience. 4 grad starters, and based on our 2 deep, 7 grad or senior starters on this offense. You can see the experience. They're going to put up points. We know that's going to happen, and special teams putting them in a good spot already.
Opening drive for Johns Hopkins. Handoff again and again. That Spartan defense stands stout. A.J. Dudowski, R.J. Ayers, Caden Tong, the front 3, and Coach Debelak's defense sets up a 3rd and goal.
It matters. You got to make them work for it. Some teams, when they get inside the 5 here, they'll just open the gate and cut their losses, but we've seen crazy stuff happen.
Well, twice they've gone to Wolf. Behind that big offensive line of Gorney, Brophy, Simon, Nowuso, and Woods. See what happens here on this 3rd down situation. Blocking back is Emmett Turner. He's on the right. See if they follow him. They'll look that way. Pass across the middle. Great defense. Pass defended well by Dominic Says. Dominic with perfect, and this as a D-back, you'll see it on the replay. Did a great job of using that outside arm to deflect that pass.
It's eyes and timing. If you see the replay here, great play, breaking on the ball. That was one-on-one. That was good on good here. And it looks like Hopkins is going to keep the offense out there and try and punch in and set the tone early. But this is why you play. A couple yards to go, and Case is going to make them work for it.
It's a tone setter for both sides of the football right now, offense and defense. Stevens at quarterback. He'll look to throw again. Blah! Batted down. How about that? That was a 4th down, and the Spartans bat that pass down.
Good play design. I like the route. Little stick route here, in, out, jerking it back out. And
R.J. Ayers.
D-line, if you can't get there, they coach you. Get the hands up. Credit to the coaching staff. More credit to the players for going out there. And, hey, they had it inside the 5, and you think of a high-powered offense like that, that's a huge win. That's a tone setter at the beginning.
The home crowd here at DeSanto Field, if they needed a wake-up on the noon kickoff on a Saturday afternoon on a college campus, they got it. So the splits are tight for that Spartan offense. They're at the 1-yard line. Saxon's going to take the snap and just try to push it forward for the Spartans to get himself and his offensive backfield a little bit of breathing room.
Yep, every little bit down there counts. So, like you said, they'll get a little more room to operate. Every yard is big when you're compressed down here. And if you're Hopkins, this is a field position battle now. You got Case pinned down here. Even one first down can really flip the field. So you'll see Hopkins, they're going to keep their safeties down pretty low and try and tighten this one down.
Sean Michael James and Gage Dusler, the two backs in the backfield right now for Drew Saxton on a 2nd down and 8 situation. Saxton looking right, and that falls harmlessly incomplete, but there are 2 flags thrown, and it will no doubt be a holding call probably on the defensive backs for Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, it'll be on Hopkins coming out of the top of the route. Looked like Riley Nurick there trying to get separation, and there was a grab. It'll depend, was the ball in the air yet? And that'll dictate holding versus pass interference. But pretty sure here we're going to have something on Hopkins, and there you go. There's the first down the Case is looking for, and this will get the drive going.
Andrew, as a player who played that position, how much grabbing actually goes on? I would imagine every play, right? It's just whether it's egregious or not, and if anybody notices.
Every play, and that's, it's the same with offensive linemen with holding, but that's where you can really see, if you think of an experienced defensive back, they know how to do it correctly. They know how to keep their hands inside and release right at the last moment. So it happens on every play, and the good ones are the ones that are able to hide it.
So it's a first down situation now for the Spartans, and they've got more than just a little bit of breathing room. They're now out near the 16-yard line. Once again, that opening drive by Johns Hopkins, a great kickoff return, then a big play that got the ball to the 1, and then 4 straight stops by that defensive front of Case Western Reserve and the defensive backfield. Saxton, the quarterback, handoff to Orsini, Antonio Orsini, the senior running back from Upper St. Clair High School out of Pittsburgh.
And you see Jake Valabera there on the stop, and I have a feeling we're going to be calling his name there. Pretty good amount here this afternoon. Number 0, you see him out there. He looks the part. When you think DN, that's what you're envisioning. So same vibe with their defense, experienced grad players, seniors across the board here for Johns Hopkins.
2nd down and 8. One back in the backfield, that's Orsini, along with his quarterback. And the pass goes to Orsini. He's got blockers out front. Needed the cut. He did across the 20, and he's near a first down. They'll mark him at the 24, so Antonio Orsini will be just a little short.
Yeah, and it's good to see. When I think back to Orsini last year, he was doing it on the ground, but maybe even more importantly, he was valuable through that screen game and through the air. And as you touched on, Ron, we're going to see our first quarterback switch here for the Spartans.
Now in the game for the Spartans, Ian Kipp. Kipp, number 10. He'll take the snap. Sophomore from Menor High School. Kipp, a 6'2", 210-pounder. Kipp, quarterback draw. And it was spelled out and stopped, and a nice job by Chris Bedell, a graduate student on that defensive line.
Yeah, and it was there. I thought the quarterback draw was, a smart call there. He just rushed it a little bit. Chalk it up the first game nerves. Got to be patient whether you're a quarterback or the running back, but need to let the big guys eat a little bit, and he'll learn from it.
Let the play develop.
Let the play develop, exactly. Yeah. Patience is key on the ground. Okay, but that was big, like we said earlier. Not flipping the field completely, but if you get the ball on the 1-yard line, being able to get it out and carve out 20 yards is going to be huge for field position.
So Barney will punt it for the Spartans, and Johns Hopkins will have good field position. Punt near midfield. It will take a pretty even bounce. Bounce for the Blue Jays, then back for the Spartans, and Johns Hopkins will have the ball 1st and 10 at midfield.
Yep, so first game, now you got the jitters out of the way. This is where you'll really see, okay, who came in prepared, what do the game plans look like, where are these offensive and defensive units going to settle in. I want to call out, we've touched on Hopkins' experience across the board. 3 preseason All-Americans on their offense. It's J.R. Woods, Ryan Stevens, Quinn Revere, so they're definitely going to be coming out and attacking on this one.
Pass out with blockers in front, that's Artie Collins trying to pick up some extra yards. Collins knocked out of bounds at the Case Western Reserve University 43-yard line. Off in the distance, there's a plane in the air show that is flying. Actually, it looks like it's flying over the dormitory rooms here at Case Western Reserve. It's not, but it sure looks like that. We're expecting a Blue Angel flyover at some point during this football game. It's Collins again with room. Collins needs a block. He gets it, and he's going to go into the end zone. There are no flags down, and that's a touchdown. A 43-yard pass and catch and run touchdown for the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins.
And there you have it. We've seen early. It's actually hasn't necessarily been a passing attack that's pressing down the field. Probably not anything over really 10 yards at this point. It's been quick game, a lot of screens, and credit to the offensive lineman getting out there and giving Collins the running lane that he needed.
Artie Collins from Glenview, Illinois, played his high school football at Loyola High School in Glenview. Johns Hopkins has shown that they can strike and strike quickly. Place kick is up, and it is good. And with 9 minutes and 19 seconds left to play in this opening quarter, it's the Blue Jays 7, the Spartans nothing. We'll be back. You're watching Case Western Reserve University football.
Have you heard the news? That Intercontinental Cleveland has earned its 10th consecutive 4-Diamond Award from AAA in recognition of its high-quality accommodations and exceptional service standards. Planning an important event like a corporate meeting, annual conference, fundraising gala, holiday party, or highly personalized wedding? Choose excellence in the Intercontinental Cleveland. Our planning professionals will take time to consider every detail and lead you through an experience which is proudly world-class. Call us today at 216-707-4100 for more details or to request a tour of our spectacular accommodations.
Ron Yance, Andrew Rossman, along with you from DeSanto Field, the home of the Case Western Reserve University Spartans. It's a cloudy Saturday afternoon, the first Saturday in September, Labor Day weekend. And it's humid. It's hot here in our announcer booth, and it's even hotter on the field. Coach Debs, pregame, talking to him, he thought he would probably have to rotate a lot more players today than he normally would because of the humidity that's on the field. And you and I, Andrew, when we were talking before the game started, you thought that starter-wise that, you know, Case Western Reserve and Johns Hopkins had a lot in common. You thought maybe a difference in the game today would be when you needed to get into the depth because, and you mentioned it, the experience that Johns Hopkins has, it's deep. And when you look at Case Western Reserve University, we've talked about it, they're a very young football team still. So as the game plays on, if that heat does become a part of the game, you could see that depth really kind of rise to the top.
Yeah, each game's a war of attrition, and it's a little easier now with this being week one. You don't have as many nicks and bruises throughout the team, but where you're going to see that depth come into play is mostly on the defensive line, and that's just the nature of the game of football. If you can go 6, 7, 8 guys deep on that D-line, that's a huge, massive advantage for especially a team that's going against an offense like Case. You know, you think later in the game, Case typically makes their money in the passing game, and that's where those D-linemen for Hopkins are going to be able to get after it.
Spartans will start on offense, and they'll have two quarterbacks in this offensive set. Alex Fromberg wears number 8. He's a junior out of Bridgewater, New Jersey. And Ian Kipp right behind him, number 10, the sophomore from Mentor. So this will be Fromberg that will take the snap, and that's Kipp on his right hip. Fromberg and Kipp run a little RPO, and there was some confusion, I think, with Fromberg, whether he wanted to keep the ball or give it to Kipp. I think he thought he wanted to give it to Kipp, then he decided, no, I think I'd like to run it, and it turned into a loss of a yard or maybe, you know, a gain of nothing.
Yeah, and these two quarterback sets, it's going to take them a little bit. You can run it on air and you can run it against your own defense in practice, but until you get out, especially against a defense like Hopkins, it's going to take a little bit to get used to and to fully integrate that into the offense.
And we can hear the jets flying over us right now from the air show. Maybe you can hear the hum and the crowd noise. Going to the air is Saxton to Orsini, right flat. Antonio Orsini reaching for the 35-yard line. And it's a good pickup for the Spartans.
Pretty good run by Van Cooter in there. You know, Orsini he's probably one of the better athletes on the field right now, and like we've touched on, it's going to be on the ground and through the pass game. Last year, when you think about this offense, he was the cash cow. He was reliable. You knew each week he was going to show up, and maybe it was 70 yards on the ground and only 10 through the air, and it would shift each week. But, you know, at a minimum, he's picking up 80, 90 yards all-purpose per game.
And he scored 13 touchdowns a year ago. So he is certainly money inside the 20. Saxton again at quarterback. The blitz is on. Lob pass to Orsini. And Drew almost made a beautiful, perfect pass with a onslaught of Blue Jays coming at him.
Yeah, and that's preseason All-American Luke Sherman coming in off the edge. And, I mean, we keep saying it. Hopkins is loaded. They have 4 preseason All-Americans. They have grad students. They have seniors across the board. And you know what, you see that, it's up to Case to rise up to it. They have a good amount of studs on their side, and it'll take them a little bit to get used to it. It's a different speed coming from training camp into game week here, but with the fifth-year quarterback, a lot of faith in them figuring that out as we go.
Barney will punt it. Nice punt. Artie Collins will call the fair catch, and that is done at the 36. And that's where the Blue Jays will start next. We'll be back. You're watching Spartan football at Case Western Reserve University.
Have you heard the news? The Intercontinental Cleveland has earned its 10th consecutive 4 Diamond Award from AAA in recognition of its high-quality accommodations and exceptional service standards. Planning an important event like a corporate meeting, annual conference, fundraising gala, holiday party, or highly personalized wedding? Choose excellence in the Intercontinental Cleveland. Our planning professionals will take time to consider every detail and lead you through an experience which is proudly world-class. Call us today at 216-707-4100 for more details or to request a tour of our spectacular accommodations.
The first play of this
Intercontinental
next
Suites
series
has
for
been
the Blue Jays, and Wolf picked up 9 yards. Johns Hopkins has it near midfield. Danny Wolf a year ago ran for 925 yards in 12 games for this Blue Jays offense. He also caught 16 balls for nearly 200. This is Stevens in the shotgun. He'll pull it out of the pocket of Wolf. He's going to go deep down the field. Good coverage. And almost a circus catch.
Great throw. Almost an incredible catch.
Colin Schuster on the coverage, one of the graduate starters for the Spartans, and that was Chris Pantelis, the intended receiver.
Yeah, and that's probably the first time that they've really pressed downfield. Still getting used to seeing Stevens, the lefty, out there. A little Mark Brunell action coming at us.
He can really throw it.
He can throw it, and that's what was surprising. They were just getting him warmed up at the beginning, making his layups, short game, and then as they can see there, they're going to come back to that. That was a good look. They got one-on-one coverage there, and they're definitely going to circle that one.
Blue Jays loaded on the left side of the offensive line. They'll come right, and that's Danny Wolf again. He'll pick up the first down.
Yeah,
Wolf crosses midfield, and Johns Hopkins has it at the Spartan 46.
It's been pretty balanced so far out of Hopkins. They've had success on the ground and also through the air. And if you're Case Western, if you're trying to shut down a high-powered offense like this, one, got to think turnovers. At some point, those have to come if they're going to have a chance to win this game. And then two, probably need to eliminate one of those. You can't let them get what they want through the air and through the ground.
There are 3 preseason Division III Football.com All-Americans on the field right now for Johns Hopkins on offense. They'll stay on the ground, hole in the middle. Big gain for Johns Hopkins, and carrying the football that time for the Blue Jays was Spencer Ugla.
Yeah, and this offensive line's starting to lean a little bit. And we talked about the experience of this team, but offensive line relatively young, rolling out 2 sophomores and a freshman out there, to mix in with this really experienced group of weapons on the outside.
Flag on this play. The gain is minimal, and the flag happened on the opposite side of the field, right in front of the Spartan bench. They're actually looking into the Spartan bench right now.
Gonna have a legal substitution. We'll see if Hopkins wants to tack that one on.
So the down will remain the same. It's first down for Johns Hopkins. They'll get 5 yards out of this. It will be a 1st and 5 for the Blue Jays. Spartan defense a year ago gave up nearly 3 touchdowns a game. We talked about how young they were. Lots of sophomores who were really freshmen playing for the first time, then a lot of true freshmen also playing. Nice catch. Diving catch by Pantelis, Upper St. Clair High School.
Yeah, and this is, if we think about, okay, how is Case Western's season going to go? It's going to come down to this defense. They're another year older, another year of experience, and it's going to be up to this group. Not necessarily a unit that has the All-American hype, the single studs out there. It's going to be a full team effort, which is what you think of when you think traditional defense. But again, this will really be what drives the team's success this year.
Stevens looking left to another D3 All-American candidate. Pass is complete to Quinn Revere. And Revere, the graduate student, advances inside the 10 for the Blue Jays. Coach Debs told both you and I, then he told John Schwartz in the pregame talk with the coach, this team, Johns Hopkins, that they're facing this year, ranked 10th in the country preseason poll and expected to move up, is the best team he's coached against outside the 2017 Mount Union team. And that's in his entire coaching history, which spans 21 years. Handoff left side, and in for the second touchdown is Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf adds to the point total for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and they're racking it up. That offensive line is currently bigger and technically sound to the point where the defensive line doesn't really have a chance on some of those counter plays. So pretty much exactly how Hopkins would draw up the start to this game. They've been moving the ball. They've had their choice of ground game, pass game, and if you're Case, you got to put a stop to it. This is going to be an enormous drive coming back for them. Down 2 scores already. Definitely don't want that to get up to 3, and from there it would definitely spiral.
So with 4 minutes and 54 seconds left to play in this opening quarter, it's Johns Hopkins 14, Spartans of Case Western Reserve University yet to score. We'll be back.
Intercontinental Suites has been transformed into much more than a hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
Dahlem and Schuster set to return it for the Spartans of Case Western Reserve. Ron Yantz, Andrew Rossman, along with you for this Spartans home opener and season opener against one of the top teams in the country in Division III. The return will come from the 6-yard line, straight up the middle, and the Spartans will start at the 25. Andrew, let's talk for just a moment about the rich history of Johns Hopkins. The Blue Jays, all time, and they've been playing football for 137 years, have won nearly 600 games. In the last 12 seasons, they've played 119 and won 110 of them. They're 110 and 19 since the 2010 season. So this is not a team that just was good last year, made a run in the playoffs, and is expected to do well this year. This is a long-standing tradition of outstanding football at Johns Hopkins University. Pass complete to the 30-yard line. That's Saxon to Ethan Dahlem.
Yeah, and everything you're describing, I would think football school.
Yep.
When I think Johns Hopkins football school, now do they have a Division I lacrosse program? They sure do. It's hard to imagine a team at that school being more successful in this football program. And you touched on, it's been over 130 years. Almost all their success has been in the last 20.
Right.
So real credit to the coaching staff turning this program around and keeping it rolling for about 2 decades now.
2nd and 5, Orsini will get the handoff. He's got an opening. Antonio Orsini past the 40. He's at midfield and trying to switch his footing. He runs out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, this is going to be big. We said this is going to be an important drive for Case Western. They need to give the defense a blow at this point. They need to get an extended drive. They need to flip the field, and all that's great, but they also need to put points up on the scoreboard. So down 14-0, this is imperative that they get, at worst case, a field goal and really start to move the momentum back.
And at least take some time off the clock, because if you can keep Johns Hopkins off the field as much as possible, that will help too. Pass away, it's Orsini. Needs to make a move. He does with a stiff arm. Boy, sticking with it though.
He's
Duncan
tough.
Van Kuturen.
He's tough. It's never, I don't know if at any point this season we're going to see one single guy bring Orsini down, and that's kind of his calling card. He's going to run tough. He's going to put his head down and get positive yardage no matter what the play is.
Second down and 10. the Spartan team a year ago through the air with Drew Saxton, a record-setting quarterback, 307 yards per game. Saxton to throw against pressure over the middle, ball tipped and caught.
You need freaky stuff. You're going to pull the upset, you need freaky stuff like that to happen. So.
Noah Coyne came up with it.
Not necessarily what they intended, but that's how it's going to work out. Coyne's a big kid.
He is.
Being down there on looking at him in warm-ups.
6'4", 205.
Listed at 6'4", 205. Young guy, sophomore still. So look for him to hopefully have a breakout year and kind of continue the tradition of high-powered wide receivers.
Sean Michael James now in the backfield behind his quarterback. Saxton will keep it. And actually that's Aaron Phillips. Phillips, the first-year player out of Highland High School in Medina, took that snap, one of those 4 quarterbacks that we said we would see today.
Well, it took us about 10 minutes. We've seen all 4 of them. So always good to see that Coach Debs has given us good info, reliable info. He sure wasn't kidding on that. And, I mean, it's tough for a defense to prepare for that. It looks like 4 very different quarterbacks, very different styles, and we'll see how that progresses throughout the game.
So it's a 1st and 10. Ball's at the 37 in this current Spartan drive, and Saxton, the 5th-year senior, back in at quarterback. Gage Dusler also in the backfield. Dusler will block Saxton across the field and looking for a penalty marker, and the Spartans get it.
Yeah, it's been the second time that the Spartan receiver's been trying to get separation, and in this case, Wykowski, I think we've heard for years this is one of the fastest guys on the team. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to stay healthy. Obviously, getting a fresh start with this season, and really excited for him to get out there and hopefully have the extended season that he's been looking for the last couple of years.
So that penalty will be a huge gift to this Spartan offense. They are now inside the 25 of the Blue Jays. Minute 36 left to play in this first half that has gone along pretty quickly. Wykowski split to Saxton's left. Dusler on his left hip. He's going to go left. Wykowski, and that's going to be deep and too deep. Well into the end zone.
That was good coverage. There's not much going on there. You see P.J. Penders kind of wrapping up Wykowski, and it was actually hard to tell what the intended route was there, just given how good that coverage was.
Well, Saxton made an arm motion after the play was over towards Wykowski, and it looked like he expected a cut earlier and more towards the sideline than what he got. Obviously, those balls are thrown before the cuts are made. And the communication, just the mental telepathy and the repetitions in practice really come into play in those types of plays. This is Alex Fromberg in at quarterback now for the Spartans. Fromberg will take the direct snap, and he fumbles the football.
And here's the worry with the 4 quarterbacks. If you're not getting reps, if you're not consistently in the game flow, it can be extremely difficult for them to get used to that, to be crisp on things seemingly as simple as, handoffs, quarterback center exchange, all that stuff that's just, the basic blocking and tackling of the game. So
that was Fromberg and Kipp again. Kipp was the quarterback in motion, serving as a slot receiver, and the ball fake was to Kipp. And they had a struggle on their handoff earlier in this game, those two. Saxton's back in. Dusler's now at his left hip, and the Spartans are facing a 3rd and 12. Saxton again to the left corner of the end zone to Wykowski. He was forced out of bounds, and that pass is incomplete.
Yeah, and the tough part there is sometimes you hear the extra defender is the sideline. See Hopkins really using that to their advantage. And, the other thing, ball needs to be thrown inbounds to have the catch, even be possible. So just a little disconnect there between Wykowski and Saxton to start, but looks like Case is going to keep the offense out here, and Debs realizes how important this drive is, how important it is to get points and answer.
4 receivers, 4 wideouts, 41 seconds left. It's a 4th down. Saxton with trouble. Saxton deep to the end zone. It's a jump ball.
That close.
I think that hit the chest.
That close.
I think that came through and hit the breastbone.
Yep, and it was a good job by Saxton extending the play, giving his receiver a chance, and credit to Hopkins there. clamping down and getting the 4th down stop. So not what the Spartans wanted to see. Down 2 touchdowns at this point. This is, as early as the game is, this is a must stop. High-powered offense like Hopkins, you don't want to get anywhere near a 3 touchdown deficit, and we'll see if the Case defense is able to answer.
And we're not even out of the first quarter yet. So if there were to be a big play here inside the first quarter in the final seconds, Spartans would be staring at a 21-0 deficit going into the second quarter. Ball's at the 26. Left-handed pass from Stevens to Revere. And they'll move the chains. Quinn Revere, 190-pound graduate student out of McKinney, Texas. A year ago, this is why he was a Division III Football.com preseason All-American. A year ago, Revere caught 75 passes for 1,153 yards. He's blocking on this pass play. And there's a flag and 2 thrown near that Hopkins sideline.
Yep, anytime you see a helmet pop off, probably going to be something coming on the penalty side. So, I mean, at this point, if I have to summarize this first half here, I would say Hopkins is the aggressor. Whether that's on offense, on defense, they've been able to come out and really and take it to Case, and there's really only one way to stop that. Case needs to come back and fight and kind of give them a taste of their own medicine. So haven't necessarily seen that when Hopkins has the ball yet, but this is the time where if these young guys are going to grow up and show their year of experience, they need to come back and kind of lay it on the table.
Here's the call. Personal foul, shot underneath the face mask. It goes against Johns Hopkins. Dominic Says was the cornerback for Case Western Reserve who got his helmet ripped off his head. So they'll back up the Blue Jays 15 yards.
Yep, and this is it. If Case is looking for a way to stop this, when you get Hopkins in a scenario where there's a penalty and now they're looking at 1st and 15 or whatever this will end up being, this is where you got to really clamp down and find a way to get off the field. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter if it's TFL, pass breakup, just the same grit that they showed when they were down inside the 5 on the first drive of this game, somehow dig deep and find that again.
First quarter is now in the books. Johns Hopkins will march to the other side of the field. They'll lead 14-0 as we start the second quarter here from DeSanto Field on the campus of Case Western Reserve University. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with the second quarter coming up next.
Have you heard the news? That Intercontinental Cleveland has earned its 10th consecutive 4-Diamond Award from AAA in recognition of its high-quality accommodations and exceptional service standards. Planning an important event like a corporate meeting, annual conference, fundraising gala, holiday party, or highly personalized wedding? Choose excellence in the Intercontinental Cleveland. Our planning professionals will take time to consider every detail and lead you through an experience which is proudly world-class. Call us today at 216-707-4100 for more details or to request a tour of our spectacular accommodations.
It's a nice look at the beautiful DeSanto Field. You come down Euclid Avenue and you hang a left heading north on 116th or 118th. You'll see the dormitory brick buildings that surround the western side of the stadium. The seats are on the eastern side, and there's where the Case Western Reserve marching band is at right now. It's turning into a more sunny day here on campus. Classes, Andrew, you think started last week?
Yeah, it was just about either last week or this week. They're back. Point being, they're back. Full
Students
go,
are back.
Now the important thing, the football team is back, and we're able to get athletics going getting underway. The women's soccer team picked up a big win the other night. Men's soccer rolling as well as women's volleyball. So good to see campus back and rolling, and especially today.
There's that offensive line, 59, Luke Simsimon. He anchors it, 6'1", 265, sophomore out of Torrey Pines, California. Ball fake it, a pass. And the Blue Jays will pick up 4 yards. That was Pantelis on the end of Ryan Stevens' pass.
Yeah, it's good to see Marco Toth getting out there and limiting the yards after catch. So again, like we mentioned before the break, second and extremely long now, 2nd and 21 to go. This is something where Case, under no circumstance, can they allow Hopkins to convert here. And Hopkins is going to have 2, maybe 3 shots at this, and we've seen them, they've been able to pick up chunks of yards so far.
4 receiver set, another quick pass on a down and out, and it picks up good yards. That's Emmett Turner with the catch near that Hopkins sideline. So that sets up a 3rd and 8 now when they were in a 1st and 25 situation.
Turner, another big kid, one of those grad students we've been talking about, 6'3", 2 1/4, and showed they're not necessarily going to be the most fun tackle you have in the afternoon.
Blue Jays work quickly. Graduate quarterback Stevens has run this offense for 5 years. He'll step up in the pocket. He's going to tuck and run it. He'll get more than he needs for the first down. Well, that's a veteran quarterback recognizing that he's got an opportunity that the defense has just presented him, and he just forgets about whatever the play call was and took what the defense gave him.
Yeah, and if you ever see Coach Warren Miller, defensive coordinator for the Spartans, if you ever see any gray hair in his head, it's plays like that. You have the right coverage, you have the right play call, and then can't necessarily account for the quarterback in that scenario.
Stevens again. Blue Jays run out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Lance Large. First time we've called Lance's name today.
Yeah, and that play right there, that's kind of been the staple of the Blue Jay offense so far, this afternoon. It's been quick game, quick screens, mostly going to the wide receivers, and then, allowing the other wide receivers, all of whom seem to have pretty good size, to get out there and block and bully some of these DBs. You
mentioned all of them, and there are a large number of wide receivers on this team, and they're good. So good that the best receiver from a year ago, as the Blue Jays keep the ball on the ground, their number 1 receiver a year ago is playing at Duke University this year.
That's a bit of a jump.
Yes, it is.
That can speak to the quality of this team and the quality of the player that they're rolling out here. So, I don't know, would you say it's an academic jump up from Hopkins to Duke? Might be a punt there. Might be pretty similar, but definitely.
Could be a wash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely, but from a football perspective, that's a heck of a jump and a credit to that kid and his football ability.
Blue Jays continue this drive with another first down. 12:42 left to play in this opening half. Stevens, who has been very good, very efficient, will hand it off to Danny Wolf, who's also been solid in the backfield.
Yeah, he touched on the efficiency in the first quarter for Stevens. 7 of 10, 97 yards, long of 43 with 1 touchdown. Pretty good. Pretty good. Exactly what you envisioned for your graduate student quarterback there. And, we said earlier, a little different look with the lefty coming out here, but he's been on the money. Timing-wise, accuracy, long, short. He can figure out why last year this team averaged 46 points per game.
46 points per game. 347 yards passing. Their offense is explosive. Another short pass in front of that Spartan bench. That's Revere again with the catch. When I think about 75 catches, that's how many Revere had a year ago in a 12-game season. That is production. And to think that he wasn't even the number 1 receiver on the team.
Well, and the other thing is, when you're scouting the week of, you say, okay, by week 6 or 7, the guy's got 50 catches. We need to shut him down. Well, they tried to stop him, and they still couldn't. So that's another credit to these kids and how talented they are.
Stevens over the middle. Blue Jays with a broken tackle and down inside the 10. Catching that ball over the middle and getting inside scoring position for Johns Hopkins is Andrew Sheehan.
Yeah, that's probably either the 5th or 6th different receiver that they've had complete a catch so far, and not nearly at halftime yet. So definitely spreading the ball, and this is why this offense is so tough. Ground, air, and then not only that spread, but also through the air. It's a pretty good mix of guys.
In and out of the hands of Jake. Actually, that's Josh. They've got 2 number 1s out there.
Making it tough on us. We got a couple zeros, a couple 1s. I think that was Josh Polis there on the play for Hopkins.
That's exactly who it was.
Well, second down, and this is, the only area that Case has really had success stopping this offense was inside the 10. So see if we can replicate that here.
Stevens looks right, goes right. Goes to his back, Danny Wolf, and he is stuck at the 8-yard line.
Tell you what, Sakalo last year played outside linebacker, shift over to the DB room this year. He still hits like a linebacker. He's still going to come up, and he's going to get guys on the ground. So now we got 3rd down, 3rd and 8. I mean, this is another, it seems like we're saying it every play now, another huge play for the Spartan defense, and just got to do enough to keep your offense in the game.
It's a great look at Sakalo in that replay.
Yeah, he can hit, and he can really run. So nice to see, one of the young defenders coming back and starting off on a strong note again.
5 receivers in this set right now for the Blue Jays. Think they'll run it?
I would look for the QB if it's not there.
Over the middle, and it's a touchdown. The 3rd of the afternoon. Quick hitter to, guess who? Quinn Revere.
That's tough. It's tough to stop. It's tough to predict what they're going to do. And, I mean, when you go 5 wide like that, giving a quarterback like Stevens even a moderate amount of time, he's going to pick you apart. So this kid's good. The offense is good. The coaches know what they have in him, and they've obviously come out with a game plan that's been working so far.
John Creel will line up to kick the point after touchdown for Johns Hopkins. And his kick will make it 21-0 with 10 minutes and 14 seconds left to play. Nope, they didn't make it.
There we go. There's a spark. There's a spark.
It's the one thing that Johns Hopkins has not done well, or not done right, and it's the only thing that they haven't done right.
And you know what? If they go in at halftime, that's one of the first things that coach will be thinking about. That's why they're good. They're focused on perfection, especially from the special teams unit. So get another chance for the Spartans offense to go back out there. And I'd say it's been disjointed so far. Hasn't necessarily been a unit that's been able to get into a rhythm. We know what they're capable of, bringing back all these starters and all the experience that they do have. I'd like to see them settle in maybe a little bit. The 4 quarterbacks in there are nice, but got to get a rhythm. Got to be able to establish what your game plan is and put some pressure on the defense. So we'll see if they're able to bounce back here.
I had asked Coach Debs if he, and this is historically a coach who is extremely successful with his quarterbacks, if he had ever played more than one quarterback, and he said no. He said he's never done this, in his coaching career. And I asked him why, and he said why he's doing it now, and he said because all 4 of those guys need to be on the field. They are excited about the 3 that are listed as backups for Drew Saxton, and they all 4 need to be on the field. I think it'll take time, like you said. This is game 1, and this is a transition, a different approach, and it will certainly take time. But I know that this coaching staff, and you know this coaching staff well, Andrew, because you played for them, their experience is, second to none maybe, or very few.
Yeah, the weird thing is that they're playing 4. It's not because any one of them is a weak point or anything along those lines. It's 4 really good ones. It's actually quite the opposite. They're so committed to playing 4 because they are so good and deserve to get playing time.
Spartans will start off with Orsini trying to get outside to the left, and that defensive front from Johns Hopkins, it's one of the best in the country. It's Luke Sherman, 240-pound sophomore, 6'4". Carson Curry, 6'3", 250. He's a senior. Chris Bedell, a graduate student, 6'2", 255. And Jake Valabera, a senior, 6'3", 230. So you've got 2 seniors and a graduate student of the 4 starting down linemen for this Blue Jay defense. New quarterback, pass over the middle. And a miscommunication on a route. Ethan Dahlem kept going straight, and Alex Fromberg threw it like Dahlem would make a cut.
Yeah, it's been tough. That's what we're talking about with not being able to necessarily get into a rhythm. A little surprising just given that Saxton is, 5th-year quarterback at this point, and most of the receiving core is back. But, I mean, this stuff can change very, very quickly. So whether it happens on this drive or at halftime, everyone needs to go back, take a breath, realize that they are capable of playing with this team, and just start to put some drives together. It'll come.
Saxton a year ago, 3,029 yards. He'll take the snap. He'll roll right with it. And I'm not sure if Drew's arm got hit in that delivery or if the ball was tipped. Ball fell very short. Saxton's frustrated, and so is this Spartan football team right now. But one thing to keep in perspective, they're opening the season with one of the top 10 teams in the country. So when we're talking about rhythm and it'll take time and it's 21 or 20 to nothing with 10 minutes left to play in just the first half, there's a reason for that, because their opponent dressed in white today is one of the toughest teams they'll face all season long. Punt just gets off, and the Blue Jays will have great field position once again. It's Artie Collins on the return. He gets to the 33, and that's where that offense will start.
Yeah, nice to see freshman OC Chukwuocha out there getting playing time, and that's where you're going to see these young guys. You dump them on special teams, and OC, we've heard from a couple people, maybe one of the better athletes coming in, right as a freshman from day one. So looks like he's going to stick out there for defense. And if you're Hopkins here, now it's time to go pedal to the floor. They're up 20 to nothing. They know Case is going to get the ball to start the second half, so you want to avoid the double-up situation there. And getting the ball in plus territory like this, look for them to really, go for it again and look to extend this lead.
A year ago, Ryan Stevens, at quarterback, had 66 pass attempts a game. That was the average. That one's completed to 10. And it's another beautiful pass to Chris Pantelis. 66 a game on the average.
It's like being on a pitch count. It's like a starting pitcher going out there once a week. And, if you look at this offense, you can figure out pretty quickly why. And it's not necessarily to say that their running game is that far behind. When they've wanted to run it, they've been picking up 5-6 yards a carry at a minimum. So, again, this all ties into, this is an offense that put up 46.5 points per game last year in one of the better conferences in the country, and they look to be on a similar path this go-around.
Hand off to Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf inside the 5, and did he get in? They'll mark him at the half-yard line. Danny Wolf had nearly 1,000 yards rushing last year, so it wasn't all throwing.
Now, if we go down the list and look at it, scoring offense first in the conference, scoring defense second, rushing offense second, rushing defense third, passing offense first. You get the theme here. It's a complete team, and there's a reason they're 10th in the country.
Quarterback will keep it after a beautiful fake to Wolf, and Ryan Stevens goes in untouched.
Yep, and this is, when we think about what a complete football team looks like, one of the elite programs in the country, this is exactly it. This is what you envision. It's senior/grad student led. Pair that with a coaching staff that has an extreme amount of experience at this university. They know what type of kid they're going to get, and they know what they need to do to win football games on a consistent basis.
John Krill will try to pick up from his miss, and he does. Makes it 27-0. With 8:05 left to play in this opening half, Johns Hopkins over Case Western Reserve University will take a timeout. We'll be back.
Intercontinental Suites has been transformed into much more than a hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
Johns Hopkins overall in the history of their program, they play in the Centennial Conference. And you mentioned recent history, recent success, even though they've been playing for 137 years. Well, in the last 17 seasons at Johns Hopkins, as the Spartans will return the football to the 25, they've won 15 Centennial Conference championships.
Pretty good run.
Yes,
Pretty
it
good
is.
run, and I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it seems like maybe every 3 or 4 years they're running into that Purple Monster down in Alliance, and whether it's a national quarterfinal, national semifinal, when you think of the elite programs at the Division III level, Hopkins is right up there with the Mary Hardin Baylor, the North Central, the Mount Union, and you can see why. It starts with recruiting, and then at the end of the day, you got to go out and execute.
Drew Saxton will be under center as the Spartans start this offensive series with 8 minutes left to play in this opening half on the season opener for both teams. Drew the defense away, a little dump pass to the fullback, and the Spartans are going to pick up big yards.
Yeah, and the way that this Hopkins D-line has been coming after them, they're going to need to start going to some of that misdirection stuff, whether it's bootlegs, counters, drag routes across the middle. They need to find a way to slow down that defensive front. You touched on it earlier, just talking about the size of these guys. Smallest guy is, what are we going to say, 230? That's Valibera, and down on the field, he doesn't look 230. He's a big, strong kid, and he might even be bigger than that. So it's a big group, it's a deep group, and we've seen that so far.
Ian Kipp at quarterback. Handoff to Orsini with a seam. Great fake at the 50-yard line. Orsini down the field to the 36.
And there we go. They're going to – now, do they have a potent passing attack for the Spartans? Yes, they do. Are they going to need the run game? Absolutely. They're going to need to start moving some people up front and really get more into a balanced look.
Ian Kipp will stay in at quarterback. He'll again go to Orsini. And Antonio will pick up 2 yards. Kipp from Menor. And if you're from northeastern Ohio, you know the Cardinal High School football program. It has been outstanding for a very long time. He's out. Saxton is back in. So is Gage Dusler at running back. Dusler from Avon Lake. Played with Sacalo for the Shoremen. Another outstanding Northeastern Ohio high school football program. Saxton, the fifth-year senior out of South Fayette High School in Pennsylvania. To Dusler. Gage breaks a tackle and then falls out of bounds at the 30, or steps out of bounds.
And I'd say this is maybe Case's best drive of the day so far, and we're going to say that it's not really going to be worth anything unless they put points on the scoreboard. So looking up there, 6 minutes left. We know Case is going to get the ball to start the second half. If they're able to find a way to get in the end zone here, cut that lead down a little bit, and then get the ball to start the second half, that's how you mount a comeback. That's how this starts.
Riley Nurk is going to go out wide to the left for the Spartans. Nurk was a favorite target of Saxton a year ago. Riley just a sophomore a year ago. Hopkins shows blitz. And here they come. Saxton going to get rid of it quickly. Try to get it to Nurk. And that blitz really made Drew throw that football before he wanted to. It sailed a little high on Riley Nurk.
Yeah, playing quarterback's tough enough, and when you get happy feet like we're going to see on the replay here, it's tough. Hopkins is more or less challenging the Spartans. Hey, if you want to throw the ball deep, go ahead. Go for it. Try and get separation on our cornerbacks. And so far the Spartans haven't been able to convert on any of those chances.
And one of the goals coming into this game today was because of that defense from Johns Hopkins to get rid of the ball quickly. Short routes, quick drops. But even that time, on a relatively short drop that was turned into running for your life, Saxton didn't have a whole lot of time. So it's fourth down. Saxton over the middle. In and out of the hands of Ethan Dahlem.
Yeah, it's been the story of the game so far. Spartans getting into plus territory, and it seems like they're just one player short on certain plays, and it's probably the third or fourth down that they've failed to convert on. So now if you're the defense for the Spartans coming out here, is it frustrating? Yes, it is. It's tough. Your offense hasn't necessarily given you a great setup so far to start this game, but at some point somebody needs to put their foot down and try and take some of this momentum back.
Well, there's a timeout on the field. We'll take one too, and I almost wonder if it's a timeout just to give this defense a little bit of rest. We'll come back and see how the Spartans face off against the Blue Jays with 5:37 left in this opening half.
Have you heard the news? The Intercontinental Cleveland has earned its 10th consecutive 4-Diamond Award from AAA in recognition of its high-quality accommodations and exceptional service standards. Planning an important event like a corporate meeting, annual conference, fundraising gala, holiday party, or highly personalized wedding? Choose excellence in the Intercontinental Cleveland. Our planning professionals will take time to consider every detail and lead you through an experience which is proudly world-class. Call us today at 216-707-4100 for more details or to request a tour of our spectacular accommodations.
Warren Miller, the defensive coordinator for Case Western Reserve University in his 10th year with Coach Debelak. Andrew, what do you think Coach Miller's talking to the defense about at this point?
At this point, it's, we touched on it at the beginning. Turnovers are an easy way to flip this momentum. We've seen that Hopkins is going to be multifaceted. They have a whole treasure chest of weapons out there. So it's not necessarily something that you go, full out and you're only looking for picks and strips, but you do want to acknowledge that those are easy ways to flip the momentum of this game. And, at the end of the day, when you are given one-on-one matchups, you need to focus on beating the guy that's across from you, whether that's getting off a block, making a pass defense play. You just need to find these one-on-one battles and start to rack up wins.
Stevens to Danny Wolf. Wolf tries that left side. He'll pick up 3 yards. During that timeout, all the officials came to the Spartan sideline and got water bottles, not only to drink, but also to just dump down their back, on the back of their neck, and let it run down their jerseys with their hats off. It's hot down there. We talked about that pregame. And when you're on the field as much as the Spartan defense has been in this opening half, that has to start to wear you down.
Yep, that's why football, they say it's 3 phases. It takes offense, defense, and special teams to win. Offense and time of possession has a huge impact on your defense, and we've seen that ring true today.
Patience in the backfield after the handoff. Danny Wolf got it and just waited for that offensive line to keep working. And I really think that, he picks up 3 yards because of that patience. Because there was nothing there initially.
It's patience. It's all the run game is. Sometimes you do have to put your head down and just take what you can get, but especially with an experienced, veteran line like Hopkins does have here, the longer that you can give them to really lean on guys and start to get the angles and move them, it's going to be 3-4 yards minimum.
3rd down and 3. Blue Jays need to get the ball to the 40 of the Spartans. They'll get it to the 40, and they'll get more. Breaking through and almost breaking off for a long touchdown was Spencer Ugla. Ugla had one man to beat at the 45, and he could not quite get past that last Spartan defender.
Yeah, and they're making it tough on us. They're throwing it to 5-6 different receivers. They have at least 2 running backs in there. The one constant is Stevens. Obviously, he's got great command of this offense, very calming presence in that huddle, and they continue to march on.
Wolf will get the handoff. He'll work that left side again. He'll pick up 6 yards. Danny Wolf, 205-pound senior from Maine South High School in Park Ridge, Illinois.
Yeah, and if you guys have picked up on it, this is, Hopkins is definitely what you'd call a national roster. Huge name brand from an academic perspective as well as athletically. And they're pulling kids from Texas, Illinois, all up the northeast portion of the country. And you definitely see the quality of athlete that they're able to attract.
Well, let's just go across the starters on offense. One from the Outer Banks, North Carolina. One from Ellicott City, Maryland. Grayson, Georgia. San Diego, California. Perry Hall, Maryland. Saddle River, New Jersey. McKinney, Texas. Glenview, Illinois. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Santa Clarita, California. And Park Ridge, Illinois. That's a national brand.
That'll do it. That'll do it. And, Coach Debs in the pregame show said that Case and Hopkins are definitely similar programs, have similar academic backing and success on the field. And, so far we've just seen that Hopkins has been able to pull in a little better talent, at least on this year's basis, and it showed on the field so far.
Ugla just churning that ball on 3rd and short. He and Danny Wolf getting the major reps in this current drive for Johns Hopkins. Clock's at 2:46. 27-0. Johns Hopkins in a first half that has been dominated by the number 10 ranked team in the country. Stevens to pass, and he's going to get sacked. And that is a much-needed defensive play for the Spartan defense. Coming up and making that sack was Gabe Trotch.
Yeah, and that's probably the first time that Stevens has been under even remote pressure. So if there's a way that you can disrupt an offense like this, it's probably through the D-line. That's the easiest way to do it. Got to get a guy like Stevens off platform, off rhythm, and if they're going to have any hope of coming back and get some stops here, I think that would need to continue.
Ryan Stevens looking to his right. He'll throw to his left over the middle, a little bit behind Artie Collins, but Artie makes a nice sliding catch on his right hip.
Yeah, Case has been mostly a zone defense here on the back end so far this year, and this Hopkins team has shown a great ability to find the soft spots, find the holes, let your veteran quarterback go to work, and, the beat goes on. Looking at the clock, minute and a half left. Hopkins is doing a nice job of really trying to bleed it down, and they know the Spartans are going to get the ball to start the second half. So if they had it their way, they'd probably run into the end zone with 2-3 seconds left on the clock.
Ball's on the 13 for Ryan Stevens, and his running back, Danny Wolf. Wolf's going to push it inside the 10. He'll get pushed back. They'll mark him down at the 10-yard line. Greg Camara, the head coach for Johns Hopkins in his 4th season. He's 18-5. He's a Hopkins grad, 2009, and he took over after the death of the longtime head coach, Jim McGrath. McGrath had led this program for 29 years. That's a pass in the end zone, and it's incomplete. McGrath was the all-time winningest coach. You know, the sports information director for Johns Hopkins, his name's Ernie. He was in talking with you and I before the game, and I think one of the things that he said about McGrath that I thought was, I don't know, was pretty point on. He said, Johns Hopkins has been so successful over the years. Opposing coaches have said to him, boy, we really want to hate you guys. But Coach McGrath's such a good guy that we can't.
Yeah, well, it's all credit to him. That's talked about how long this program's been going. You can kind of see the inflection point. 20 years ago, this is when this team really got rolling and got onto the national stage.
And they remain there this year. And they are putting on a show to start the season. Stevens over the middle. Pass is caught, and it's a touchdown. Boy, that was put in a tight box, and it was Artie Collins again. There were 2, we'll see in the replay right here, 2, maybe 3 case defenders there. 1, 2, 3. There were definitely 2 in the area. There was a small window for that pass to be put in, and Ryan Stevens hit it.
And as tough as that pass looked, as tough as the catch was, it looked pretty routine for those guys. You can tell they've been doing this for a couple years together. They have that rapport. They know where each guy is going to be, and again, finding that soft spot in the pass defense and able to convert.
That is the 4th touchdown that Ryan Stevens has had his hand in today. And the point after touchdown is added to it. It's 34-0, Johns Hopkins. We've got 38 seconds left in this first half. We'll take a quick 30-second timeout.
Hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
So Ryan Stevens, the quarterback, as I said, he's responsible individually for 4 of the 5 touchdowns that have happened in this first half for Johns Hopkins as the Spartans return it to their 28-yard line. He had a 43-yard touchdown pass to Artie Collins. He had an 8-yard touchdown pass to Quinn Revere. Then he kept it himself on a 1-yard quarterback keep, and then that last pass to Artie Collins again to make it 34-0. He comes into the game as a Division III preseason D3Football.com All-American, and he has certainly lived up to that billing.
Well, he's going to add a D3 Player of the Week if I had to guess. Hard to think of a quarterback out there having a better day than Stevens so far.
Drew Saxton knows what a good day is all about. He's had plenty in his now 5th year at the Case Western Reserve University. Saxton tucked it and run it, and he picked up about a yard. 27 seconds left to play in this first half.
And you see Matt Dubois coming down and closing that gap down pretty quickly. So there's probably 5 or 6 Hopkins defenders that we haven't even called their name yet today, and they've been running around and making plays. It's been really a total unit effort on that side of the ball for them.
Let's talk about Drew Saxton for a second during this timeout. In his 5th year, there was no doubt in his mind and Coach Depp's mind. Coach Depp's told me that Drew told him very early after the season ended last year that he would be back for a 5th year. He could have graduated. Well, he's going to graduate in December. He could have stopped playing football, but he decided he wanted to come back for a 5th year. He's got 9,028 career passing yards coming into this season. And that's second most in the program history. and he needs just 696 this year to catch Dan Whalen in the program record of 9,724. So we're watching a future Hall of Fame Case Western Reserve University quarterback and an all-time season leader in not only passing yards but passing touchdowns by the time this 2022 season wraps up. Today, facing a tough task in the season opener, one of the top teams in the country. Saxton running for his life, going to throw it back, and it was a nice pass on the backside shoulder that the wide receiver reacted to. It just fell out of bounds, and the Spartans will have 19 more seconds left in this opening half.
Yeah, and that's been the theme for the, not only the Hopkins defense, but the Spartans offense as well. That D-line's really, really getting after him. It makes it tough not only to call plays, but also run the plays. It can be perfect play call. You can think you have him out leveraged on one side, and when you got guys like Valavera coming in and chasing him down, it kind of blows that up pretty quickly.
Valavera is on the right side of that defensive line, and a young man named Luke Sherman's on the left side. He's preseason All-American himself, first team preseason All-American.
Sophomore too, so you can kind of see the succession plan there on the D-line and throughout this team. It's very balanced. A lot of old guys, a lot of young guys, and it doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
Little bubble screen. Blue Jays play it well. Clock will stop with 10 seconds. One more timeout called. Did Johns Hopkins call that timeout? It's kind of hard to tell from our vantage point.
Looks like.
Well, let's look at the timeouts on the clock. It couldn't have been Hopkins because
three
they've got
left.
3 left. But there have been 2 timeouts in the last 2 plays, and there's only 1 timeout taken off of the scoreboard. So now it was Hopkins. They just took one off them. So obviously they're looking for maybe one more opportunity here.
Well, that opportunity is going to be a pump block. So we're going to see. They're going to put their biggest, baddest, fastest dudes on this pump block team and see if they can get after it. And, hey, they're up 34-0. Guess what? They want more.
Biggest, fastest dudes.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. That's what they're going to roll out there.
I think T-shirts need to be made saying that.
Okay, let me know. We'll talk
Would
to our
you
business.
get one if they were made?
Well, you got to earn it. You got to be one of the biggest, fastest dudes.
I know. I'm asking you. Would you get one?
I can't comment on that. That's up to other people to decide if I'm worthy of that T-shirt.
That's a good answer. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in the box, as they say, on that line ready to rush this punt attempt. Snaps back. Blocking's good. Blocking was very good. The punt's even better. And that's going to roll out the first half, I think. We're at 1 second, and they'll down it. And that will wrap up the first half. Both teams will head to the locker room. It has been a first half dominated by the number 10 ranked team in the country, the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins University. They are up 34-0 over the Spartans of Case Western Reserve University. Halftime's coming up. We've got lots planned for you, so stick around. We'll be back. Take it off. I got to talk to him. Yeah, we got to.
The women's tennis team posted one of the best seasons in program history in 21-22. The team reached the NCAA Division III championship for the first time as a team and went on to win its first ever NCAA championship match. The Spartans went 17-5 during the year, falling just one win shy of the program record for wins in a season. Last but not least is the CWRU men's tennis team, which was unable to attend today due to a prior scheduled competition. The Spartans placed second at the NCAA championships for the second straight year, while James Hopper and Jonathan Powell went on to claim the 2022 NCAA Division III doubles championship, becoming the second duo in team history to accomplish the feat. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for the 21-22 CWRU NCAA qualifiers and UAA champions.
Andrew, step back here a second. So we can, actually, we're going to sit down so we can get on camera here. All right, here we go. Well, we've had a chance to watch a great band performance and see all of the athletes on the field. They honored at halftime here at Case Western Reserve University all of the Division III All-Americans in the past athletic season and the University Athletic Association champions. And it was nearly every sport on the field. So the athletic program here at Case Western Reserve University is certainly doing well. And, you know, not to take today as a statement on the football team this year, because they are playing, once again, we want to remind everybody, one of the top teams in the entire country this year. And Coach Debelak and his staff knew that coming into this football game today that they would have their hands full, and they certainly have.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, okay, just because you don't beat Alabama, does that mean you're a bad football team? No, I'm not necessarily saying Hopkins is, far and away or at that level or anything, but this is going to be one of those halves where you need to get points on the board. You need to get some positive momentum. If you're thinking about a season opener, shutouts can't happen, and just take it one drive at a time now. It's a chance where you get to see, okay, are these upperclassmen ready to lead? Are the underclassmen ready to contribute? And if you start putting some drives together, see what happens. It's 34-0. Nobody saying that anything is right in front of them or it's going to be real easy or anything like that. But again, find out what you got in the older guys, see what the younger guys are able and willing to do, and start to build some momentum going into next week.
Well, we'll get a chance right away. The Spartans, they'll get the opening kickoff. They will start this second half with the football, and they'll get their opportunity to put an opening quarter statement on, I mean, let's be real or honest. Nobody expects the Spartans to come back from a 34-0 deficit against the top 10 team in the country. But I guarantee you every one of the members of the coaching staff and every young man wearing a Spartan helmet down there expects to have little victories in this second half. And whether that's a drive that leads to a touchdown or winning the third quarter, on a 0-0 scoreboard, if you look at it that way. I mean, that's how athletes operate. That's how coaches operate. You've got to move forward and try to find small victories, even in days and moments where, you're getting your head handed to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be an athlete, if you want to compete, you're going to have 30 minutes here where you're head-to-head. You're standing across from another man, and you got a chance to beat him, whether that's blocking him, getting off a block, making a tackle, making a rush. This is where you find out what type of competitor you are. It's not necessarily the contest we expected coming in here, but still it's a chance for, whatever Spartan guy is out there on the field, it's a chance to show his teammates and the coaches what he has and see what can come out of that.
So the Blue Jays are on the field. They're ready to kick it off. Dusler back, set to receive for the Spartans along with Ethan Dahlem. Case Western Reserve had a couple of drives in that first half that they really looked smooth and in rhythm. And then once they got inside the 30 of Johns Hopkins, that Blue Jay defense just seemed to turn it up a notch, almost with a flip of a switch. They were completely different. This will be Dusler that will receive it at the 5-yard line. Sophomore from Avon Lake High School, avoids a tackle at the 17. Nice cut back to the middle of the field, and that Blue Jay defense swarms, and there's a flag thrown from the midfield area. We'll wait to see what that's called.
Yeah, and this is what I'm interested of, is how can Saxon come out and assert himself as a leader, say, hey guys, listen, didn't have the first half that we thought or anticipated, but this is a chance for us to go out and put some points up on the board. And, whether they realize it or not, the other coaches in this conference and the PAC, they're going to watch how this team responds. It's a good chance to put stuff on tape, show the rest of the President's Athletic Conference that, this is a legitimate offense. It's an offense that returned a bunch of guys from a high-powered attack last year, and, we're here to play again in 2022.
Penalty was on the Spartans. They'll mark off 10. And what was going to be a drive that started at the 28 will now start at the 18. Saxton is under center at quarterback to start the third quarter. Orsini, the lone back in the backfield. Little bubble screen. Pick up a few yards. Noah Coyne on the reception. Coyne and Dahlem and Nurek and several wideouts involved in this offense today, and historically, a year ago, for Coach Delleback and Drew Saxon as quarterback, they used 9 different receivers. Caught passes and had over 100 yards, all the way up to 814 yards. The wide receiver leader over the middle. This will go for a first down and more. That's Ethan Dahlem. Run out of bounds at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, and I'd say from Case's own 20 to their 50 today, they've been pretty good. They've moved the ball, they've picked up first downs, and they're getting into the territory here where, historically today they've had issues. So this is what I'm curious to see. Can they convert? Can they keep moving into plus territory and get points on the board?
Spartans quickly moving. Saxton pass a little bit high and out of the outstretched arms of Noah Coyne. The plan today was short drops, short routes, quick drops, short routes. And they have certainly had to stick with that plan because that defensive front from Johns Hopkins has always put pressure on the offensive line. Hopkins showing blitz, picked up by Orsini. Bubble screen. Coyne's going to get 1, maybe 2 yards.
I'd say between the two teams, this is the most bubble screens, wide receiver, quick screens I've ever seen in my life. I think we're at 15, at least 15. And Hopkins so far has been more successful with it. A lot of the screen game, it comes down to how athletic are your linemen, how quickly and efficiently can they get out and get big bodies on smaller guys. So Case hasn't necessarily been able to do that. Credit to Hopkins having, we'll say team speed on defense across the board, and that's kind of how you shut that quick game down.
3rd down and 7 for the Spartans. They need to get to the Blue Jays' 44-yard line. Saxton looks left to Coyne again, and Coyne almost with a back shoulder circus catch. It would have been beautiful.
Yeah, P.J. Penders has been excellent today. We've called his name far more than the other corners. On the other side, they have Alejandro Garcia and Luca Lutzel, rotating in. So they've gone after Penders for one reason or another, and he's been up for the challenge. So really strong game out of him, and not necessarily a big guy, 5'9", 180, going up against, so far Coyne has been his main matchup at 6'4", and Penders has been up to the task.
Coach Debelak will choose to go for it on 4th and 7. And I think you will see this happen the entire half, down 34-0. Unless, of course, they're inside their own 20. And a whistle. Did they get was it a delay of game? It is exactly that. So that's going to set up a 4th and 12. And now they'll punt.
Yeah, it's more of the same from the Hopkins defense. There's just not a lot of room to operate at all 3 levels between linebackers and DBs. They've shown that team speed. They rally to the ball, and even if Case has been able to complete a pass here or there, the yards after catch has really been clamped down by this defense.
Ben Barney will punt it for Case Western Reserve. Barney with a nice punt, and it went off a helmet, and that's a live ball. And fortunately for Johns Hopkins, it hopped out of bounds. That hit a helmet hard and took almost just one quick hop, and it went out of bounds. We'll take a look at it here. It went right off a Johns Hopkins player.
That actually helped them. Gave them 8 extra yards of field position there. So,
boy, if the Spartans could have smothered that before it went out of bounds. It got there quickly. I think it was Matt Dubois that it went off of Matt's helmet. When you're down 34-0, Andrew, you need breaks like that to.
You'll take
to
anything you can
favor.
get. Anything you can get.
So here's an offense that has done pretty much everything right today. It's already Collins. He's at a big day. He'll carry it, and he'll get tackled. Nick Sakalo. Guess who?
Yeah, Sakalo's had a nice game. He's going through a position change, like we said, moving from linebacker back to safety, and I thought he was pretty good at linebacker last year, and not sure if that's a depth thing, if they're just looking to get their best 11 guys on the field out there, but he's shown the ability to come downhill as a safety and bring the thunder like he used to at the linebacker position.
This is Wolf with it. Wolf will get up to the 45. He'll pick up 7. It'll set up a 3rd down and 3 for the Blue Jays. This year in the pack, Spartans are picked in the middle of the pack, picked to finish 5th. Blue Jays will not get the first down. Wolf's going to be a yard short. And really, the 5th place finish last year and the prediction that they'll finish 5th again this year is kind of new territory for Coach Debelak and his staff, because they historically have been one of the top teams in that conference. I mean, they have done nothing but win. They have a .710 winning percentage.
And for one reason or another, the pack is really, it used to be, we'll say, a 2-team league. Now those 2 teams changed each year. Some years it'd be Case and Carnegie Mellon, Westminster would pop up, W&J's consistently at the top. Now you're looking at it year to year, there's probably 4 or 5 teams that are playoff worthy and playoff caliber. So the strength of schedule of the conference is definitely coming up. And, Case they're going to have to bring it each week. There's not necessarily those easy pushover games that they used to have in the past. And, it's just something that they need to continue to grow through and realize, hey, if you want to be with the big dogs, that you're going to have to adjust.
Andrew, one of those teams, Grove City, and we had them here on this field last year. One of those teams that has put themselves in that top tier of the pack, and that was something historically that was never the case.
No, I can't remember what the 3-year stretch was. I don't think they won more than 2 games total over 3 years, and now they're, I'd say, a perennial conference contender. So you think about teams like that, Grove City. In my mind, Grove City, Westminster, W&J, Mellon, and Case, at any one point in time, and we got a fire drill going on. Well, got to give them the chance to sub.
Yeah, so coming out of that, the Spartan defense was on the sideline. The Blue Jay offense saw an opportunity, and fire drill was the right term, because there were 11 Spartans trying to get back to that football before that young man snapped it.
There we go. Everybody gets settled.
11:32 left to play, third quarter. It's 34-0. Johns Hopkins. Danny Wolf, first back through. Hard hitting going on in there. It was a 4th and 1 situation, and Wolf needed to get to there's a penalty flag.
Yeah, well, one thing you can't do is pull people off the pile if you're a player. It's really tempting. It's really fun to do, but you're going to get flagged. So
they needed to get to the 48, and they'll mark it right at the 48. So it's going to be a measurable ball, but it will depend on who the penalty is on.
Yeah, so it looked like a dead ball foul, so they'll get the first down, and then they'll take the yardage off on the back end.
And that's exactly what will happen. Blue Jays will keep it. They'll say it was a first down. They won't even measure for it. But they'll back them up 15. The ball will be at the 34-yard line.
Okay, all that, we have 1st and 10. Much ado about nothing.
Stevens with a handoff. They'll continue to wind the clock and churn out yards. Danny Wolf with the football.
Yeah, and I would think Hopkins keeps their starters in. Assuming the score stays like this, probably give them most of the third quarter. Just continue to get the reps. I mean, even though they're up 34-0, these reps are way, way different from camp, and you need to get your guys game experience, even if they are grad students or senior players.
Wolf on 2nd and long. Actually, it's not Wolf, it's Ugla. Breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage, squirts out to the left, and he's across midfield.
One thing I've noticed today is Hopkins receivers, as prolific as they've been, catching the ball on their own, also really invested and really aggressive in the run game, and that's how you can take
good blockers,
5-6 yard runs and turn them into 15-20 chunk plays. So it's a good lesson out there if you're looking to, even if you're not getting the volume activity that you think you should in the pass game, go out, make an impact, get some blocks, and help the offense.
118 yards rushing in the opening half. Johns Hopkins had Ugla again with the football. He's going to pick up a yard. You look at the 118 yards rushing and you throw in 210 yards passing, and The Blue Jays really put big offensive numbers up in that opening half. This is Sean Torres down on the field right now for the Spartans.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily see what happened, but in the piles, that's what happens. People get rolled up on. Gets nasty down there.
We'll take this time out. 10 minutes, 9 seconds left to play in this third quarter during the injury. Get a chance to catch you up on some of our longtime sponsors for Spartans Athletics.
In search of an extraordinary dining experience where you're certain to enjoy the ambiance as well as the menu? Table 45 Restaurant and Bar is the award-winning mixed culture restaurant located at the Intercontinental Cleveland, offering cuisine from around the world created by accomplished local chef Zach Brule. Open every day, the atmosphere at Table 45 is relaxed yet inspiring with weekday chill-out happy hours, a behind-the-scenes chef's table, and outdoor dining on Patio 45. Call for more details or reservations at 216-707-4045 or visit us at tbl45.com or on Facebook.
Beautiful day here to be outside. College football Saturday afternoon, first Saturday in September. Ball fake, deep pass, Stevens down the field, and great coverage at that time for the Spartans.
Slice is having a pretty good game. He's been in on a number of tackles, number of pass breakups. I know he had the big play on the first drive down on third down, in the end zone when Hopkins had the ball. So good to see him stepping up a little bit. He's one of the younger guys on the defense and hopefully going to grow into a leader this year.
Sophomore Dominic Says out of Los Lunas, New Mexico, went to St. Pius High School there. He's just a 165-pounder out there at that cornerback spot. Good rush. Running out of it is Stevens. He'll keep it, points for a blocker, gets it, and he's going to pick up a first down and about 6 yards more. He gets down to the 31.
That's a killer. 3rd and 7, again, we've seen it probably 2 or 3 times a day. Spartans are in the right coverage, able to finally clamp down on these receivers, and Stevens goes ahead and takes off with his legs. So wouldn't say necessarily a guy that looks to run, but when it's there, he's definitely been able and willing.
It deflates you a little bit, doesn't it?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. We don't have to undersell it. It's demoralizing when you go out and you got the right play called and you just can't account for the quarterback like that.
Blitz for the Spartans. Picked up. Stevens will run. He'll get 10. They'll mark him down at the 21.
He's smart. He's shown a good sense of, okay, I got my yardage. Let me get down. Not looking to take big hits. Realize it's only week 1, and there's a time and a place for that. So, veteran guy. Can't say it enough. He knows what he's doing out there.
So, let me ask you this as a former player. Do you think, and you talked about it a couple of minutes ago, do you think after this drive the starters will be out of the game for Johns Hopkins?
I'd say probably I wouldn't anticipate that they're going to play much, if any, of the fourth quarter. Again, you do have to get game reps, and Case is a talented team. It's a talented defense. It's good experience no matter how many years you've been in the program or been on the field. So the other thing is you want to put stuff on tape. Maybe you show a wrinkle here or there for the other teams to game plan, to think about. And there's also a lot of value in putting not all the backups in at once, but maybe some of them, so they get experience working with the first-team quarterback and the first-team line, kind of sprinkle them in like that.
Stevens connects at the 2, and a nice defensive stop by Says at the 2-yard line for the Spartans.
That was a good throw.
Quinn Revere.
Good throw. From the center of the field, going deep into the corner like that, he's really driving the ball. And so far as far as I'm concerned, he's made the short throws, the intermediate, and also the deep ball.
His arm strength is noticeable.
It's good. It's good. That's how you end up throwing for as many yards as he has.
Ugla, pound and churn and still going. They'll mark him at the 1-yard line.
Still didn't get him down.
No, they didn't. I think that whistle blew a little quick.
And you know what? If I think of the Ugla last name, I think Dan Ugla, Mr. Popeye Forearms from the old MLB days.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's related. He runs. You know what? If I had envisioned Dan Ugly in a running back, it's that guy. Short to the ground, churning it out. I would think that Mr. Ugla gets another chance here.
From the 1, Stevens is going to throw it. Little in and out, beautiful pass. Quinn Revere took that defender inside. Got to defend that quick hit inside. So it's actually, it's a great little cutback.
Yeah, it's that jerk route. That's probably the most difficult for a corner to defend down there, because you have to respect the slant, and then they're going to put their foot in the ground and come right back out. So I think guys like Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, you even see McCaffrey run a route like that. It's really, really difficult to defend, and that's actually the fourth down play that they ran on the first drive of the game. This time D lineman not able to get their hands up, and results in another touchdown for the Blue Jays.
7 minutes, 16 seconds left to play in this third quarter. It's now 41-0. Johns Hopkins over Case Western Reserve University. We'll be back.
Intercontinental Suites has been transformed into much more than a hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
Ron Yance, Andrew Rossman on hand here at DeSanto Field on the campus of Case Western Reserve University. Ryan Stevens, the quarterback for the Blue Jays, was 17 of 22 for 210 yards in that opening half. On that drive, he was even better efficiency-wise, and he now has 4 touchdown passes in this game alone, including a running touchdown. So he's got 5 scores all by himself as the Spartans bring it up to the 31. And if you look at what Stevens did last year, and this is him as a senior. He's a graduate student. Last year, he threw for nearly 4,000 yards, 3,841. His passing percentage was 68%. And this is a quarterback that threw up 66 passes per game, and his percentage was almost 70%. He had 33 touchdowns passing and threw only 9 interceptions. No picks today, and he already has 4 touchdowns in week 1.
It's just more of the same. That's exactly what I would expect him to come out and do in a week 1 opener, and he's been spreading it around. It's not necessarily one receiver or one back. It's Stevens playing point guard and getting everybody involved.
Orsini, with second effort, gets the ball up to the 35 for the Spartans.
Yeah,
You're looking for something to smile about here, right? You're looking for something to kind of, have a positive impact in your football psyche.
Yeah, I can say one thing that's just not going to be acceptable is getting shut out at home for the home opener. So whatever they need to do to get points on those board, preferably a touchdown, that has to happen. If you think of a real morale killer is, putting up a goose egg in week 1, that would probably do that.
Quarterback will keep it. Spartans needed 6 for the first down, and they'll get it. That was Ian Kipp with the quarterback draw. I want to take this moment to point out our great staff, our production staff, Brian Trail. He, along with Paul Salzgeber, Shayna Perlman, and Mike Becker, our director. Always great in their production for not only Spartan football, but men's and women's basketball in the wintertime as well. There's an injured Blue Jay on the field. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for both of these teams. Case Western Reserve next week on the road for a 1 o'clock kickoff at Waynesburg. Andrew and I will be back with you on September 17th as W&J plays under the lights here at DeSanto Field. Washington and Jefferson, 7 o'clock game. That's the next home game. But next week it's at Waynesburg. Johns Hopkins goes on the road to Ursinius on September 10th. And then shortly after that, they'll start their conference play. Looking at that President's Athletic Conference this year, Andrew, Spartans were picked 5th. Some typical names at the top.
Yep, well, when you start looking ahead, you start parsing out the schedule and saying which games matter. And it's hard to ignore the final one. That final one is against the hated rival Carnegie Mellon Tartans coming in. They'll be coming to Cleveland this year. So a lot of football between now and then, and I would guess that game's going to have some juice behind it.
Speaking of juice behind it, Saxton's pass that time to Ethan Dahlem. Drew took the snap, kind of squatted down to hide himself for a moment, and then threw a bullet across the field to Dahlem.
Yeah, Dahlem's had a nice game. He's picked up a couple receptions. I'd say he's probably been the most adept at finding the holes in that Hopkins defense and settling down nicely. So, again, whatever they got to do to get points on the board, we got to get this thing rolling. And 41-0 is not a score that anyone planned on, but it's don't want to over-exaggerate it, but getting 7 on the board would be huge for this team's confidence.
Saxton under center, Orsini in the backfield. Drew will roll, look to throw. Throws it deep, releasing, and almost connecting was Wykowski.
Getting mobile. And you gave him a chance. That's all you can ask on a play like that. Thought he might have had 5 or 6 yards rushing, but at this point in the game, you're looking for chunk plays. You're looking for 20, 30-yard passes like that. And, it looks like now we're going to keep the quarterback carousel going. We'll get Fromberg out there for a snap or two.
That was the temptation, wasn't it, for Saxon? He could have tucked, and you said, 5-6, easy. Fromberg now at quarterback, 2nd and 10. 5:22 left to play, third quarter. Orsini will get the handoff, and Antonio across the 40 down to the 38. Alex Fromberg from Bridgewater, New Jersey, Raritan High School. He's out, Drew Saxton back in. Saxton, the 5th-year senior. Spartans read that spread offense, and this year it's got a whole new wrinkle to it. Game 1, but they've been working during training camp or preseason with a 4-quarterback, not rotation. It's not like, well, it could turn into that. But many times they'll have 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. That's Saxton with a quick pass off to Sean Michael James. And the reason being, Coach Debelak and his staff really believe in these 4 athletes. They are clear athletes, 4 of their better athletes on this offense, and they just think they need to be on the field. Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's good to see Case pick up the first down there. This is probably, give or take a couple yards, the furthest they've been into Blue Jay territory today. And again, we're hunting for a touchdown here. We need to wipe that 0 off the board as soon as possible.
Saxton got to get rid of it quick. He is unable to. I don't know how he held on to the football. Boy, that defensive line and the ends coming in.
And it's hard to tell. I mean, it's almost hard to tell who's on the D-line and who's a linebacker.
Yeah.
They've got about 6 or 7 guys that are built almost identically. The numbers don't really help you. They rotate them in and out, and at the end of the day, they're all able to shed blocks and get after the quarterbacks. We see preseason All-American Luke Sherman there.
Sherman, Dubois, the linebacker.
Yeah, it's tough to keep track of, and it's hard enough for us up here. I'm sure it's even worse for being down on the line and being Drew Saxton.
2nd and 15, it was a loss of 5 on the sack. Saxton showed great strength just holding on to that football. Saxton steps up again pressured, and again he'll go down. Credited for the tackle that time.
Looks like
Zach Allen.
Yep.
But putting pressure on, creating the sack for Allen was Carson Curry.
Yep, it's a deep group. And, if I had to put any money down, I would bet on the Blue Jays being there in November. And who knows, maybe this is the year that they get into December and kind of get over that hump. But it's hard to imagine a team in the country having a more complete set of guys, not only on offense, defense, but also special teams. It's really been 3 phases today, and you can figure out quickly why they're so highly rated.
4 linemen ready to go for the Blue Jays. 3rd and long. Saxton again in trouble. He'll get sacked at the 45-yard line. That's Sherman, the sophomore defensive end. We pointed out he's a D3 All-American first team preseason as a sophomore.
As a sophomore. So if you project out and say that he continues to grow and get better not only this year, but he's got another 2 years, I think everybody in that Centennial Conference is going to be nice and sick of Mr. Sherman down the road.
6'4", 240. Spartans will punt. Ben Barney has had a busy day. He's done a nice job. That's a beautiful punt all the way down to the 12-yard line. Andrew Rich holding on to it for the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, and we'll see who Hopkins comes out with. This may be final drive. Again, I would anticipate most of the fourth quarter we're going to find out what type of depth the Blue Jays have. But, I don't know, minute and a half left. We'll see if you give Stevens and the first teamers another chance, and it looks like that's what's going to happen.
The lefty, number 17, is on the field, along with his top receivers as well. In motions is one of them, Artie Collins. Nice defensive stop by the Spartans. That was Andrew Rich with a carry for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and that's what I was touching on earlier. So Rich hasn't necessarily seen a ton of carries or a ton of playing time so far in this game, but when you have, start to splice in some of the backup skill guys, sometimes it's helpful to keep the first team line in, the first team quarterback, and you can see, hey, maybe down the road somebody gets injured. Do we have confidence in plugging this guy in the first unit? And this is how you build that confidence.
Fake to Rich, and the pass is out, complete to Quinn Revere. That's a first down for Johns Hopkins. Ryan Stevens is real good at throwing that quick pass. He's got, I think, great arm strength to get that out there as fast as he does.
Yeah, I would say it's been a timing thing all day. He's been on schedule, on time. He knows exactly what his reads are, even in scenarios where maybe the first option isn't there. He's shown a strong ability to go to 2 and 3, and it just looks like he's out there playing catch. You'd be shocked to hear that people are even in pads. Looks like 7-on-7 most of the time.
Stevens up to Artie Collins, and Artie's going to get run out of bounds at the 36. That'll stop the clock. Actually, the clock's going to continue to roll. We're at 37 and counting left to play in this third quarter. Let's give that Johns Hopkins offensive line some credit. J.R. Woods, the right guard, 6'3", 295 senior. Michael Nowusu, the right tackle, first-year player, 6'2", 280. This is Emmett Turner catching the pass and running with the football. Luke Simsimon, the center, a sophomore, 265. Left guard, Garrett Brophy, sophomore, 250. Left tackle, the graduate student, 6'2", 280, Alan Gorney. They have done a good job all afternoon. That's the end of the third quarter. We'll take a break as well. It's Johns Hopkins 41. Spartans still looking for their first score.
Intercontinental Suites has been transformed into much more than a hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
Well, not to beat a dead horse, Andrew, but the goal for the Spartans in this fourth quarter, put points on the board.
Points on the board. Doesn't matter if it's a safety, a field goal, block punt, whatever you got to do. We can't have goose eggs around here. Nobody wants to see that. And when you put a shutout out, it's sticking up there forever. It kind of sticks in the rest of the season. You'll remember week 1 we got shut out at home. So hopefully that's not something we have to deal with, but we got 15 minutes to find out.
Stevens will throw it. Goes to the short out. Needed only 3 yards to get the first down. That was the check down pass to Andrew Rich.
Yeah, and if I'm looking, we just got handed our stats through the third quarter. It's no secret why Johns Hopkins is up 41-0. First downs, 24-10. Rushing yards, 176-39. Passing yards, you think Case Western coming in, prolific through the air. Under 100 yards passing through 3 quarters. So concede in all phases, and like I said, that's how you build a 40-point lead.
Stevens towards his own bench, and that's really the first big miss he's had today. That one did not have a chance at a completion, and I believe that's the first time I've said that on a Ryan Stevens pass today.
It's not only a self-inflicted wound there. That's one of the only misses that he's had. He coming in before that pass, he's 23 of 29 for 257, 4 touchdowns. He's only been sacked once, and I want to emphasize that one sack number. He's been comfortable all day. He's been able to go through his reads. Honestly, kind of been flat-footed on some of them because he just knows his big offensive line is going to take care of him and doesn't really have to worry about it.
Stevens looking for the home run balls. Not going to get that. He's going to think about throwing deep. Still, what a catch! Up with a one-armed grab for the Blue Jays.
It's like Josh Polis pulling it down. That was good. It was a nice catch and throw, and in certain scenarios where you're not able to have those on-scheduled throws, gotta lean on your playmakers, and that's what happens.
Moving with the football after the catch, Lance Large.
Yep, so I think based on those last 2 plays, there are 6 different people with receiving or receptions in this game. Yeah, Collins with 7 receptions, Revere with 7, Pantelis with 4. And I didn't notice it until this point. Collins got 2 touchdowns, and Revere's got 2 touchdowns. So spreading it around. Whoever's next on the schedule for Blue Jays, good luck. You're going to have to stop a wide array of weapons for him.
Stevens will throw it again. This time, little dump pass, and walking in for a touchdown yet again for the Blue Jays. A new score, but another touchdown, Jeff Schroeder. What's old is new again. New touchdown recipient, but the same old thing, a long Blue Jay drive ending in a touchdown.
Yep, that's been the theme of the day. And, if you look down on the Case sideline, this is where we talked about at the beginning of the year, you're going to know if you have a playoff team or not, team capable of winning the conference. You can look down and, hey, this is probably going to be the low point of the year. I can't imagine they're going to be in a situation like this at any point during the next 9 games. So you got to find out who's going to respond, who's going to rally the guys, be a constant strong voice, not only on the sideline, but in that locker room. And again, 48-0, not what anybody envisioned. 48-7 sounds a lot better, and that doesn't necessarily change the end outcome, but getting that 0 off the scoreboard is pretty much the only focus of this offense the rest of the way.
The 5th touchdown pass, and likely the last of the afternoon for the graduate student quarterback, Ryan Stevens, for Johns Hopkins. The Blue Jays have scored 7 touchdowns today, and in 6 of those 7, Ryan Stevens has had something to do with it. He's thrown 5 touchdown passes, and then he had a 1-yard quarterback keep where he scored another. National Player of the Week, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. So I don't necessarily have a vote. I don't agree that I don't have a vote. I should. I think I can allocate those appropriately, but I would think that Stevens is more than worthy this week of picking up that honor.
Dusler will bring it up for the Spartans, and Gage Dusler is at the 26-yard line.
And we'll see who Case rolls out at quarterback here. We'll see if they start to kind of lean into that rotation more, or if they want to go the confidence-building route with Saxton.
Right below us right now is the defense, huddled around the defensive staff. The coaching continues no matter what, right? No matter if you're up 41-0 or down 48-0. And this is, there's a lot of learning going on out there right now.
I can tell you, Coach Miller, it could be 150-2, whatever outlandish score you can think of. His demeanor will not change. And I've said it on this broadcast before. He expects his team and his defense is going to play aggressively, and he's going to coach them aggressively. He believes that there needs to be alignment there, and if you could look down and see how he's coaching up his guys now, that is holding true. And they've given up almost a 50-burger at this point, but he's still all over them. He's giving them pointers, and it's not a style where he says, here's everything that we're doing wrong. It's here's what we can do better. Here's how we can improve. So it's not always negative. It's looking to find improvements and figuring out ways. All right, this happened. How can we stop it from happening on the next drive?
Ian Kipp will take the snap, throw it sidearm. It's almost picked. Kipp was good to just get that snap under control. It went a little wide, and he showed Patrick Mahomes-like style that time. Didn't go overhand with the pass because he had to throw it sidearm, almost underhand, because of the defenders with their hands in the air.
I wondered which quarterback you were going to pick out there. I would have gone with Colt McCoy, but you went Pat Mahomes.
Colt McCoy. Wow.
You went with Pat Mahomes. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, he's an athlete. We've heard plenty of stories from camp of how Kipp can really throw it, and he's a good athlete. And you can see why they're trying to get him on the field. We'll flip back to Fromberg here for this snap.
Going to step up and run it. Fromberg with some room. Up to the 46-yard line. They'll mark him at the 45.
Let's just put all 4 of them out there. Put them all out there at once. Put one in the slot, 2 or 3 in the backfield, and see what happens. Yeah, it's definitely different skill sets amongst the 4, and if they can ever figure out this rotation and start to situationally put them in, it's almost like a bullpen.
Right.
You have your lefty one-out guy, you got your righty submarine guy. Similar stuff. You just got to figure out what that right combo is.
Fromberg's at his 14, or at the 40, rather. He'll throw it deep. Wachowski's open at the 30, catches it, and down to the 25.
That's probably the first chunk play we've had today.
Noah Coyne, rather, not Wachowski.
Yeah, Fromberg showing an ability not only on the ground, but sometimes that's the toughest throw when you see that a guy's beat and you just got to lay it out there. The rule is you don't want to overthrow him, if anything under. So good job getting that completion. And, once again, Case, positive territory, marching towards the end zone, see if this is the one that they can get it done.
Ian Kipp at quarterback, looks left, going to have to run it. Runs right to open space. Kipp at the 10, the 5, looking for the end zone, and he gets it.
There we go.
Deep sigh of relief for the Spartans.
Yeah, that was, for one reason or another, that was their best drive of the day. And I know Hopkins is starting to rotate some guys in, but these are still, they're number 2s on the number 10 team in the country. So definitely some strong athletes still out there, and credit to Case. Hey, keeping your head down, getting it done, finally putting points on the scoreboard, and we got just under 11 minutes left to see what else can come out of this game.
Ken Barney in to do something other than punt today for the Spartans, and his extra point is good. And with 10 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in this football game, Case Western Reserve University's on the scoreboard, down 48-7 to Johns Hopkins. We'll be back.
In search of an extraordinary dining experience where you're certain to enjoy the ambiance as well as the menu? Table 45 Restaurant and Bar is the award-winning mixed culture restaurant located at the Intercontinental Cleveland, offering cuisine from around the world created by accomplished local chef Zach Brule. Open every day, the atmosphere at Table 45 is relaxed yet inspiring with weekday chill-out happy hours, a behind-the-scenes chef's table, and outdoor dining on Patio 45. Call for more details or reservations at 216-707-4045 or visit us at tbl45.com or on Facebook.
So, Andrew, you got your wish. Do you feel better?
On behalf of the esteemed alumni of this program, we feel much better about having a touchdown up there versus a 0.
Gotcha.
I'd like 2. I'd like 3 or 4.
Sure, let's go. We've got 10:58 left. There's a nice crowd here today. They had all the athletes who received All-America status, NCAA championship status at some point. Not national champions, but, getting to the Sweet 16 like the men's basketball team, or getting to the Final Four like the men's tennis team or the winter soccer team. UAA champions on the field at halftime. And it was great to see the success of this athletic program this was just the last year.
Yeah, it was a good year, and I want to give a special shout out to the Case Western baseball team able to pull home the UAA conference title this past year. So congrats to them and the rest of the teams. It was obviously a great year for the athletic program, and hopefully this is another step forward in 2022-23.
Johns Hopkins with the ball at the 48 of the Spartans, and they've got a new quarterback in the game. And the quarterback for the Blue Jays is Bay Harvey.
Well, I would think that Mr. Harvey's task is get reps, be ready. I don't envision this being the last game that Hopkins is up in a scenario like this, and it's a game of football. It can change at any point. You never wish it on anybody, but injuries do happen, and those backups need to be ready to roll.
Well, Harvey has a local tie. He's from Link, Switzerland, but he went to high school at Cleveland Heights. The Heights Tigers, not too far from this campus. Just a sophomore.
Yep, and if I had to guess, I would say the projection is everything goes according to plan. This will be Mr. Harvey's offense in about 12 months.
3rd down and 7. That's P.J. Scales in motion for the Blue Jays. Harvey to throw. He'll be pressured. And he snuck out of it. I thought for certain that was a sack, and look what it's turned into. Harvey somehow got rid of it, and he got it to Andrew Rich, and Rich needed 7. He got maybe a yard.
Yeah, and I certainly wish, that the score was flipped or we were seeing a tight contest here, but this portion of the game can get pretty fun. You get some young guys in there, maybe not as technically sound or don't necessarily have a great grasp of the offense or defense. They're just out there kind of running around and showing what they got. So it can be fun. It can be a little chaotic at times. It's kind of like that play was, and this is where, all right, if I'm a coach, I'm going to figure out what my freshmen, sophomores have to offer, because, again, it's one play away, and then, suddenly you're relying on a freshman against a big-time team in the playoffs.
Little rugby kick. And that actually hit number 49 at the 26-yard line. That's where they'll mark it dead. They're going to actually mark it at the 30. That hit Carter Hogg right in the back as he was running down to cover that punt.
Yeah, and I can look at the offensive huddle for the Spartans coming out. Coach Debelak's pretty juiced up. He was happy with that last drive. He knows how much this can mean to this offense as far as a confidence standpoint goes. And hey, 1 touchdown drive is great. Putting 2 together, then we can really start, building on something, put some good stuff on tape, because, tomorrow this team's going to have to come back and they're going to watch this game beginning to end. They're going to sit there and they're going to see, here's some mistakes we made, some areas we can improve on, and it's always good to end the film on a high note. So see if they can string a second straight drive here together.
Fromberg's in at quarterback, or actually it's Kipp. Ian Kipp. Kipp will tuck and run across the 30. Gets near the 35. He'll pick up 4.5 yards.
And he's looked pretty good on the ground. He's definitely an athlete coming over from Kent State who can, put his head down, get some tough yards, and show some explosion. So, again, we've said it a couple times, different skill sets between these different quarterbacks. Just got to find the right use for him at the right time.
This is Fromberg. Dusler behind him, the lone running back. Little bubble screen again. Enough for a Spartan first down. Needed to get to the 40. And they'll be down at the 43-yard line.
Nice to see Lukatish get involved. Spartans, typically the hallmark of their offense is they're similar to how Hopkins is rolling today. It's going to be not necessarily one guy. I know sometimes Colt Morgan would kind of take over that persona, but usually it's 4 or 5. It's by committee and spreading it all around and making it tough on the defense.
Alex Fromberg remains in the game for the Spartans. 7 minutes, 40 seconds left. Dusler will take the handoff, and Gage immediately met in the middle of that line and tackled. Dusler, the sophomore running back from Avon Lake. There are 3 Spartans, or 3 Shoremen on this Spartans roster. Gage Dusler starts on offense. Sakalo starts on defense. And Michael Stewie is a backup linebacker on the defense.
Yeah,
all
good.
3 are sophomores from the Shoreman football program.
Good chunk of Avon Lake kids. Decent amount of Mentor kids on the roster at this point.
And something out of nothing. There was absolutely no reason that Ian Kipp should have picked up positive yards on that, but somehow he found the ability. And it's really fun watching him run with the football.
He's a good athlete. It looks kind of funky out there. You got the quarterback running around with no gloves. Doesn't really look like a traditional running back, but as soon as he gets up into the open field, he's shown an ability to not only get positive yards, but usually 10 to 15 at that.
Ball's at the 42 of Johns Hopkins. Hopkins stacking that line. And Kipp's got nowhere to run. He got stood up and smoked by Oliver Craddock.
Yeah, and at this point, looking out there, it looks like the Hopkins defense is pretty much completely turned over. Looks like there's still, I think the only starter still out there for one reason or another would be Alejandro Garcia, and I know they were rotating guys at that corner position, so sometimes when you have a position battle, this is when you kind of figure that out, see if guys can really, lock guys down even when the score is not necessarily as close as you thought it would be.
It's interesting, though, even though they have completely, like you said, turned that defensive over personnel-wise, and I don't know if it's the simple white uniforms with just the blue numeral on them, but the body types all look the same.
The same, and we mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. It's a deep group. Their 2s and 3s are, that's probably the sign of from a good to a great team. What's the spread from your 1s to your 3s? You want that to probably be as tight as possible. Now, sometimes it means your 1s aren't necessarily as good as you would hope, but I think in the case of Hopkins, it's because they've recruited to depth, and it's depth at the important positions. So offensive line, defensive line, like you said, those body types don't look that different. They got big, strong kids down there, and just pump them through. It was a little hotter today. It's more of a depth day where you had to roll them out, and especially given the score, once you give some full-time work to the backups and see if they can, come through, continue what they built on. And the other thing you got going on is the first-team defense is sitting there on the sidelines. They put the work in. They had a shutout going. It's on these young guys to keep it going. For better or worse, the players care about stats. They care about where we rank in the conference on points allowed, nationally on points allowed. It's a pride point for teams like Hopkins and Case, and it's on, like I said, the younger guys to keep those stats rolling.
So they will try to keep the Spartans out of the end zone as the Spartans try to get back in there. That's Kipp with the pass to his fullback out of the backfield. That's Dominic Wade.
This is going to be a great replay. Wade coming in, and you're going to watch the bowling ball get going. Boom.
Yeah, Wade put Cole Peters on his backside.
That's where the D coordinator's yelling, wrap up. And you look at the D coordinator and say, you want to try and tackle that guy?
You want to wrap that?
Yep.
Derek Slesh, the offensive coordinator of the Spartans of Case Western Reserve University. Slesh has been with Coach Debelak all 21 years. They've both been here 21. Debs has been the head coach for 19. And Coach Slesh would love to see, as the Spartans advance with another first down, another touchdown on the board here before this game gets over.
What I'd love to see, it was off camera. You see Kipp breaking, 3, 4, 5 tackles on that play. The most endangered species in the world was a headset on that Hopkins sideline after that play. These coaches are still all over their guys. They know how important it is to coach the backups at the same intensity as you coach the starters. And
Fromberg needed less than a yard. He needed half a football. He gets it.
That's important. It's important to have the starters engaged. You don't want everybody, screwing around on the sideline, not paying attention. It's a sign of a good program when everybody's still invested in it and pushing these young guys to uphold that standard.
Yeah, whether you're up 48-7 or down 48-7, the mental approach has to stay the same.
Yeah, it matters. There's nothing cooler than when you're a young guy out there and you look up and the seniors are screaming full throat on the sideline and all over you for making a good play, and that's a good feeling. So that's what you're kind of chasing in this scenario.
Fromberg to throw. He gets blitzed. He gets hit. He gets sacked. Matthew Conkle, along with Zach Allen, in to smother Alex Fromberg. Spartans had the ball at the 31. That's a sack of 8 yards. They're back now at the 39.
Looking for positive yardage here. 2nd and 18. You want to give yourself a chance on 3rd down. Can't have an incomplete pass here. Need to be moving forward.
This home game is just one of 2 in the first 6 games of the season. Deep ball down the sideline. Caught it. What a catch. They'll mark him at the 1. What a pass. There was no room for error there.
He slings it. He's got a little sidearm. Not quite a Phillip Rivers approach, but able to sneak it in there to Wykowski, and now they're knocking on the doorstep of another touchdown here. So clock's running down. They're going to be under 3 minutes probably when they snap this ball, but again, can't emphasize enough how important each and every score is in this game.
Dusler standing back at his 10. Will not get the ball. Kipp will roll and throw. He'll throw to the fullback, and breaking tackles and jumping into that end zone is Dominic Wade. Can't wrap that young man.
No, simple little bootleg. I think it's one of the staples of Coach Devilak's offense. You get that little H-back, fullback trailing out there, and I'd love to know the number of touchdowns we've scored on that play over the last 19 years.
So Kipp to Wade. And when Barney completes this point after touchdown, the Spartans will have their 2nd touchdown of the 4th quarter. Three minutes left. The Spartans are winning this 4th quarter. And they're losing the game, though, 48-14 over Johns Hopkins. But there are positive things to talk about now on the Spartans sideline. And on a day like today, that's all you're looking for.
Okay, that scoreboard looks a little better. Not great.
You said you wanted 2 touchdowns.
Now
you want 3?
Now I want a 3rd.
Now you want 3.
Yep, always got to be pushing, Ron. Always pushing, but this would be a good chance. So if you want to, the offense has built a little positive momentum now, 2 straight scoring drives. Now it's time for the defense to go out and start to string some stuff together. It's going to be a different level of intensity. It's not the first unit for Hopkins, but hey, it's the 10th ranked team in the country. Go out, put some stuff on tape, build some confidence. Probably most importantly, make tackles and stay assignment sound.
Barney's kick fielded at the 4 by E.J. Tallarico. Tallarico's down at the 24.
Yep.
See a lot of Spartan backups now on defense.
Yeah, this is what you do in this scenario. Get them the reps. Hopefully get them the confidence. Now it can go the other way. It can go horribly wrong. But, I mean, if there's anybody in the world that knows the importance of coaching the backups as hard as the first teamers, it's Coach Warren Miller. So if you put a camera on him on this sideline, you'll see every first down here is going to be crucial in his mind, and that's how it should be. You got to build the program from the ground up.
Pass over the middle, complete with running room. Lots of room. Down to the 40-yard line goes P.J. Scales.
Man, they're just rolling them out. It's weapon after weapon. I mean, they put in.
Quarterback looks pretty good, too.
Yeah, Bay Harvey can sling it. I'm telling you, if you put a bookmark in this and you come back a year from now, I don't know. Stevens might be back for what seems like an 8th year at this point, but I would think that Harvey takes over next year, and as much as we've seen today, it doesn't appear that the offense will really slow down at that point.
Ball's at the 40. Broken tackles by the running back. Carter. I'm going to check that. Was that Carter Hogg with the carry? Not Hogg. It was Jacob Chapman. Chapman 26, Hogg 28.
Yeah, and he's another one. I mean, similar to how we were talking about the D linemen looking the same, 1 through 3. This is probably their 4th running back. He looks no different than the starter. Physically, patience-wise, still putting his head down, getting positive yards.
He'll do exactly that and gain 7 more yards down to the 22-yard line.
creeping under. Minute and a half left here. Looks like Hopkins, they'll be respectful about it, but they're going to probably run the ball, and if they could put up another score, it's just another confidence boost for this team.
Chapman will get it. He'll work the right side, and there's going to be a holding call. That will bring that one back. The guilty parter will be Matthew Roessler.
Yeah, it's been pretty clean today. I'd say we're probably well under 10 penalties combined between both teams, 0 turnovers. And we said at the top, probably one of the keys of the game for Case Western was picking up some of those turnovers, flipping field position. Whole team's pretty clean in that regard, and it's just a good, clean beatdown. That's how I describe it. I think Hopkins was the better team from the beginning. That's offense, defense, and special teams, and it's tough. It's tough when you go out there and kind of get manhandled like the Spartans have today, but able to put 2 scores up in the fourth quarter, and you got to find small victories in a scenario like this.
Yeah, and you also have to admit, like you just said, Harvey with a touchdown pass. Did he stay in bounds? He did.
That Polis again.
I believe it was Josh Polis.
Yep.
Talk about an arm.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. They've put the work in recruiting-wise, and then once you get these kids in the building, coach them up, and just continue to emphasize, just because you're a backup doesn't mean you're not going to get called upon to uphold the standard of this program. And you can look at the scoreboard, 54-14. That's from the first guy on the roster all the way to the last. That's impressive.
Extra point blocked. It will stay at 54.
There's our guy Osi, freshman, making an impact on special teams. So it's nice. It's nice. It's something that the coaches notice, and you can really tell. All right, who still cares? There's under a minute left, and we're down by 40 points, and we're still blocking extra points. That's a good sign. Good sign of things to come.
Take one more time out in this football game. 56 seconds left to play. We'll be back with the final 56 after this.
Intercontinental Suites has been transformed into much more than a hotel. It is a center of wellness and tranquility, featuring renovated suites, an expanded fitness center, and pure rooms for guests requiring the most allergen-resistant rooms on the market. C2, our Mediterranean-style restaurant and bar, accentuates the ambiance of relaxation and rejuvenation. Chef Omar Jones has designed a menu full of fresh, locally grown herbs and vegetables, along with a flavorful cuisine inspired by the beneficial Mediterranean diet. Call the Intercontinental today at 216-707-4300 or visit us at hotelsclevelandclinic.com or on Facebook.
Sun's starting to come out hard here at DeSanto Field. That kickoff wisely left to go out of bounds, so the Spartans will start in good field position in the final 56.6 of this football game. Campus is active once again here this week. Students back on campus. Some of them have been huddled along the ivy that grows on the fence that circles the western side of this DeSanto Field. It's a beautiful place to be in the fall. Colors have not turned, but they will by the time we are here in late November, or actually early November and late October. Trees will have turned, the ivy will have turned, and it's just a beautiful view. I think you're lucky as a player to play in a facility and on a field like this.
I would agree. It's one of the best. Yep, I think we'll probably get 1 or 2 more handoffs there, get some guys some game snaps, and then off we'll go.
That was Aaron Phillips, the first-year player out of Highland High School at quarterback. Phillips will stay in the game. Going to throw it. Leads his receiver nicely over midfield and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. It was Phillips to Jack Breyer.
It's a good-looking pass.
It was a great pass.
Yep, another Cleveland kid. I've seen him in person, put it on my alma mater high school, North Royalton. So a couple years down at Medina Highland, I know Phillips was more than prolific. It was on the ground, it was through the air, and it's good to see a quality athlete like that coming out of Cleveland get to stay home and play 4 years for the Spartans.
21 seconds left. Can the Spartans do it? Can they throw another 7 points on the scoreboard? We'll need to use a timeout here on that pass and catch. Receiving it.
That's good. I like that
Isaiah Arrington.
I like that they put him in and they're letting him air it out a little bit. Is it valuable to go in and hand the ball off? Sure. Is it huge for confidence boosting to come in and complete a couple passes? Absolutely. And that's what they've done. And credit to Phils for getting 2 straight nice completions there. Good ball placement, good arm strength, and hey, if there's any holes on this team, it is not in that quarterback room. You know, top to bottom, they got a couple guys that they should be more than comfortable putting out there in any scenario.
Coach Debs in the middle of that huddle right now on the field, as you can see, still animated.
He's in there. He'll coach him to the death. And you know, I said I wanted a 3rd touchdown. We got 15 more seconds to make that happen. So let's see. Let the kid air it out. See if we can get some separation on the outside and make it happen.
He'll have Arrington on the near side of the field. 2 receivers to his left. Ball's at the 30. Game clock's at 15 seconds. Phillips going to have to roll and throw this one. Chucks it deep. Good arm strength. And that's deep into the corner of the end zone. Nobody there.
Yep, little scramble drill. Got to build rapport.
Yeah, he had to move quickly.
He got the hips around and put a good
did.
throw on it.
Yeah, he put a great throw on it. Running, across his body to make that throw.
Yep. So we'll see. Got at least 1 more, maybe 2 more, depending on how long this play takes. Spartans do not have any timeouts left, so tackle in bounds will kill the game. If they're able to complete it, get up and spike it after a 1st down, maybe get 1 more play.
Riley Nurick now in the game. Nurick can catch and run with it. Phillips will look his way. He's going to throw it deep to Arrington, and this is out of bounds at the pylon marker with 4.4 seconds left. Good coverage that time by the Blue Jays defense. That was Ty Alunga-Reed.
Yeah, and they've been good all day. They've been, I touched on it earlier, squeeze into the sideline as much as you can. Use the sideline as your friend.
Last play. Phillips going to run it. Going to pick up 3, and the clock has hit 0. Spartans and the Blue Jays will meet at midfield. Johns Hopkins will head home with a big opening season win, 54-14.
Yep, that'll do it. Beginning to end. Domination by Johns Hopkins, and that's how that score ends up like that.
So if you're a Spartan player, how do you feel right now?
Not great. Not great. I think everybody in that locker room is going to be disappointed in today. You know, was Case an underdog coming in? They were. I don't think anyone would argue otherwise, but these are the types of games that you're going to be experiencing if and when you make the playoffs in November, and you just expect a little more out of the team, and in the future they can look back on this and say, hey, here's a 10th ranked team, here's some good stuff we did. Probably more importantly, we saw what level of play does it take to compete with these teams, and it's something you keep in the back of your mind, and each day in practice you're focused on that, and hopefully you keep moving towards the ultimate destination of getting in the playoffs.
So the final 54-14, the next time Andrew and I will see you will be September 17th back here at DeSanto Field. That's a night game. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. The Spartans continue next week. They travel to Waynesburg, and that's a 1 o'clock kickoff. Spartans are starting to huddle up over by their head coach and the rest of that staff at the 35, 40-yard line. Coach Debs is still very animated. And I watched him walk across the field. He got out on that field immediately, and he walked with enthusiasm across the field to meet his opposing coach from Johns Hopkins, Greg Camara, and it looked like, to me, Coach Debs wasn't happy about something. but maybe it was just the fact that he just got beat 54-14. But
yep, sure that has some impact. But like you see here, he's going to coach him up. He's seen everything. Haven't been a head coach for 19 years here. He's seen the ups, the downs, and like I said, that's kind of the standard that you just saw today. That's what it takes to be a successful, we'll say, top 10 team in the country. And now they have a good watermark. They know where they need to get it from a recruiting standpoint as well as an execution on game day standpoint. So good reference point. Hopefully they're able to continue to improve, and this will be the Spartans soon enough.
So for Mike Becker, our director, and his very talented production crew, and for Andrew Rossman, my very talented and knowledgeable color analyst, my name is Ron Yance. We'd like to thank you for watching Spartan Athletics here at Case Western Reserve University. Your final today in the season opener and the home opener from DeSanto Field. It's Johns Hopkins 54, Case Western Reserve University 14. Have a great Labor Day weekend, everyone.